All right, and we're live. Roy, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. How you doing?
I totally forgot that it was Tuesday, like 4 separate occasions today. My brain has just been mush, but I'm
It
happy to be here. That's for
yeah,
sure.
it doesn't feel like Tuesday. I don't know like what is going on, why that is, but it doesn't. So but yeah, we're here. It is Tuesday after all, so Bootleg Weekly, we are live.
Yeah.
If you guys are new to the show, we cover a few topics. We're going to certainly talk about Apple and the CEO turnover, what we're thinking on Apple, if anything's changed. There's actually a good bit of Amazon news. Some of it relates to HIMS. So, yes, we may not be in HIMS. We still are going to offer our uneducated opinions on HIMS. And a little bit of SOFI news coming up as well as Robinhood 2. So, and macro stuff. So, I thought you put sezl for a minute in the title, so I was like, wait a minute, is Tevis into sezl? Like, what's with this? So yeah,
What's Sezl
uh,
ticker? SCL?
SEZL. Yeah, it's a buy now pay later pure one. They're a little bit differentiated in that they help people build credit scores, but yeah, I thought about them. If you look at their stock, like I'm not in it, I've never been in it, and I don't really like pure buy now pay later plays because you're exposed to, I mean, just regulation. I think that there's between that and also the consumer health, it's an overexposure where I'd want to be. But like when they were like tiny, and I mean tiny, I thought about it and I was like, man, this one might be the one to just like be in. And it's went parabolic, of course, and it's retraced a lot of it too. But unlike air test systems, man.
Dude, do you know that I actually tried to apply for a firm like 3 days ago, and they insta declined me. I'm like, "What the hell?" It's just ridiculous. I have, like, a perfect credit score.
Well, but you're a Canadian.
No, they have it in Canada.
I know, but still, like, why would you want like Canadian money to run through your ecosystem? Did I ever tell you the story about college and the Canadian money?
No, tell me.
All right, so I was a resident advisor at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and we there was a number of different like things that we had to do throughout the year in that role, and one of them was basically to focus on several different elements that they wanted to bring out in to the resident body, and so part of it was charity, but I have a weird sense of humor. And up in Alaska, when I was a kid, I was mowing lawns, and then there was this lady that was kind of a cheapskate that would pay us, not only underpay us, but she was a family friend, so it was hard for us to say no. But she would also go to Canada, load up on Canadian money, and bring it back. And these are all quarters, it just giant rolls of them. Because up in Alaska, there's plenty of Canadian money in the ecosystem. It looks kind of about the same. And at the time, it was 70 cents Canadian to the dollar. And so she would pay us in Canadian money and be like, oh, it spends just the same. And I'm just like, so I developed a hate, I'm sorry, for Canadian money. And that's part of the reason why I like to tease it all the time. And then, so going one step forward, when I was a resident advisor, I'm like, okay, there is like a Canadian children's feeding fund. Let's collect Canadian money only that is polluting our beautiful American money, put it in this, and then we're going to send it back to Canada. So, yeah.
Dude, like, I've said this before on stream, and I'll say it again. Living in Canada, trying to make money in Canada is life literally on hard mode. You get currency that's 30% devalued from the US, getting more devalued by the day, and you get higher taxes on that currency that's more inflated. And on top of that, it gets you fewer options for you to multiply that currency. It's literally like you're trying to run a marathon, except you're going like on the opposite direction on a treadmill kind of thing. It's so freaking
Uh,
hard.
yeah, it's like being born in the United States at this time. Like there's issues in every country and every
My
place,
God.
but man, like it's a lot of advantages, and it's easy to take it for granted. But
Yeah, don't take it for
yeah,
granted, man. And like I'm literally your neighbor, and I would like I'd commit crimes. I mean, I probably wouldn't, but you get my point. It's
I
a
don't know.
much better system.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Tevis, we want to get into the topics now. So, of course, one thing that I should have noted in the beginning, we will have a Q&A session. So if you guys are asking questions related to the topics at hand as we discuss it, we try to hit those during that. Otherwise, we'll have a Q&A period towards the end of the show. It can be unrelated to the topics we're discussing. We'll always shoot you guys straight. So sometimes that answer is, I don't know. I haven't had that one. How is it?
It's like bubblegum flavor, which I really like it. Yeah, Molly water, somebody said. Yeah,
I'd try it. Yeah, since they just have 3 flavors, it's always one of the 3. Orange is okay, and the other 2 are really good. So I'm drinking the tropical, which has a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of starfruit. It's good. Do you guys have these up there in Canada?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen them, but yeah, but I'm sure we might. I love how the chat is trying to pimp me out.
I mean, he is an eligible bachelor, so
Very much so. Yeah. But unfortunately, I come with a Canadian passport, so that's an anchor for life.
I mean, a firm rejected you, so do the ladies that are Americans. I just,
I'm pretty sure a firm would be like, yeah, we're not going to make any money on this guy, and so they're like, let's not bother.
It's good to see Null in the comments too. And yes, we love the energy drink. So, all right. So one bit of breaking news. We want to talk macro and maybe like spend a little bit less time on that because there's some specific questions. Investors, we can make too much of the macro. It is important to look at and discuss. This is something that's really interesting. So it came out just actually not that long ago. Iran has made a final decision, and we'll see how final that is, to not attend the talks with the U.S. and Pakistan on Wednesday. And we're nearing the end of that ceasefire deadline. Now, the most interesting thing about this, Tevis, to me anyway, is the market didn't seem to react unfavorably really at all. Of course, they've not resumed firing at each other, and always could be that we wake up tomorrow and we're in a sea of red. But I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts on this, the situation. Are you concerned? Are you taking precautions? And why do you think that the market hasn't reacted much at all?
The only precautions I took was not rolling out my VG. And so I'm just letting it ride, or not rolling out my covered calls on VG. Other than that, I didn't really do much else. I still have covered calls on like Nebius and everything else because... Yeah, I mean, to Tanner's point, ceasefire got extended. Mm-hmm. I saw this post on X, Roy, and it's a joke, but I also think it's true. Somebody basically posted, they were like, this Strait of Hormuz crap is going to make the hardest multiple choice on an AP history class 20 years from now. And I so relate to that because it's this war of propaganda has me completely confused. And I think it has the entire market completely confused, right? Because, what Trump says is different from what Trump does. What Iran says is different from what Iran does. And nobody's talking to anybody. And it's just like, what, the JD go to the airport and then like come back? It's just, I got to find that meme where it's like, hey, trying to predict, the next move here. And it's just completely unpredictable. It's crazy.
It's been interesting. So like, what I was alluding to, the ceasefire got extended. If you can throw this up real quick, Tevis, we see this statement. The timing of this actually came out about an hour and a half or so after this. You didn't see the market move at all. Like that's what I'm saying is an hour and a half, you would have expected, okay, maybe there's going to be a sea of red, like nothing. I think it's 2 things. Yes, ceasefire is extended. It's going to, and as Donald Trump says here, the government is fractured, and I'm sure it is. I mean, a lot of those people that were leading Iran previously, they no longer are on this planet. They're dead. So it's great that the ceasefire is extended, but even then, the market was not reacting really negatively. Like maybe just a little bit of downward pressure. And I think that this is one of those good reminders in the market that the market is forward-looking. It usually doesn't wait for the end or the resolution of something before it starts moving the opposite direction, whether it's to the upside or the downside. And it feels like right here, unless there is a resumption of actual like mass fighting, bombardment and everything, that it just kind of priced in. It's good with it. It's ready to move on. And we'll have to see. So yeah, for myself, I didn't really do anything. Didn't take any hedges. Didn't have any going through the weekend. I still have my VG shares, which will operate as a hedge. It's just a long-term position. It's not there intentionally as a hedge, but I know if like things continue to get worse, or if this takes a long time to resolve. I mean, I think it's already, it went up pretty nicely today, but I think it's already priced nicely for the long-term horizon. So I might add like 50 or 100 shares. Nothing major there, but yeah, no differences.
Yeah, this is every Tuesday when you ask me, hey Tevis, like what's gonna happen next? I think of this meme. It's like me trying to predict the market. Have you seen this?
Psych.
It's just this is what's happening in the market every single day. We're like, oh, what's gonna happen next, guys? Are we gonna get a season? Are we gonna get a resumption? Like it's just we don't even know. This is it. This is it.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of people that have tried on both sides to time things, and it's just an unpredictable market. It really is.
But
So
we are in
it's
greed territory, Roy. We are in greed. It's like 70,
yes,
72 or something.
and
So,
it feels like greed. Does it feel like greed to you?
I mean, we've been
You're a
red the
nebulous,
last
so
2 days. So,
yeah.
but I guess that was after a doubling. So, yeah, maybe.
I was like, with your Nebius, with my air test systems, and you have some air and I have some Nebius, it feels pretty greedy.
Bro, air
So
4x in 4 months. Tanner is punching air right now. No pun intended, because this was not his Christmas gift. He got Peloton.
poor guy. But I mean, like I pitched it in the Stock Tank episode, and I was like, okay, air, it's here, it's an opportunity. I think it's still good. I mean, I'm still saying that right now, although I think it needs to retrace. It's well ahead of itself. They either have to, like, one of two things have to happen. Either it needs to retrace some and consolidate, which is healthy for the stock, and I do want to own it long term, or they need, basically, there's four catalysts that are realistic this year. All of them happening is extremely unlikely. It doesn't need all of them happening, but some major other external vendor basically has to come with another order. And I
So
think that it will by the end of the year, but yeah.
on
It's
this, we'll talk about air just to wrap up the macro. As Clawman says, the market appears not to be very negatively impacted by this conflict anymore, like it was a month ago, unless things really escalate. You know why that is? Have you ever read The Boy Who Cried Wolf? This is exactly like that. It's like you make a big statement, it shocks everybody, and algos pick it up, and everything hits the fan. You can't keep making that same statement for a month now and nothing happened. Exactly. In one word, this is like everybody knows that this is the play, and so that's why like the market's like, all right, we're over this. Let's
yeah.
keep
A,
on doing
a,
it.
a few too many reversals. It just you can only believe so long and price things in, and then just like, you know what, this is not going to happen. So it certainly could. Things could get worse. Things could fall apart. But I'm just positioning myself for long. I do have some more cash now. I've deployed some of that into actually I bought some wicks just as a swing trade. Now we talked about it on Friday. Kind of wish, I was just like, hey, as soon as the overnight market opens up, but I don't really typically like to buy those, especially on low liquidity stocks. Sometimes I do, but yeah, I own some. I'll probably add a little bit to it as well. But yeah, it's just easier picking long-term companies that you want to hold for a long time. And yeah, any thoughts on air?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about air. First of all, I love that we color coordinated with the blue. It's like totally messing with my head, and this was unplanned, but yeah, good job. Yeah, air. Holy man, what is happening here, Roy? Are we breaking 100? Like, where are we going?
I mean, like it came close to testing 100, like good enough for a test, and I figured like that's a psychological resistance layer level, so it's not uncommon to see the initial test get rejected, especially when it's running. There's a lot of speculation, frankly, on the stock. So I kind of broke this down in a separate video earlier, actually, I think late last week and in a post this week as well. But the market is just in that kind of mood, right? So it sees Airtest Systems now that it's really well positioned with the AI arms race and the AI supply chain, with what's happening with memory, with silicon photonics, which it's really excited about. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of buyers. I'm kind of curious because, so we've seen Airtest Systems sell $60 million worth of shares, which at the time was 3 point something percent at the $60 level. It sold, and I need to look and see. I don't actually didn't remember seeing this in the SEC filing, but it obviously was less diluted than expected. A lot of insiders sold before the major deal, and also before this week, a lot of them sold as well. But what happened last week was they had their largest order in their history ever, like not even close ever. And we kind of talked about this, but just to reiterate, this is their hyperscaler that has been. It's probably their largest customer. They do break that out in the SEC filings, but it's kind of hard to tell because things move around and they're pretty lumpy. But they have committed to a large order, and it sounds like that there's more coming as well for these Sonoma units. And then at the same time, so I think that if we were at $60 or so, I'd be like, yeah, it's pricing it in. There's some speculation, but not like too much. Here at 90 something dollars a share, I think that they're looking at air and they're saying, okay, since we're seeing this from one hyperscaler, we're seeing and we're listening now to Gain, the CEO, of exactly what's happening in these spaces. And in the words of one of the analysts that talked during the Q&A period for air, they have a lot, and I mean a lot of irons in the fire. And so I broke down like an ultra bull scenario. Before I say this, like, watch the video for the full details. It's a 30-something minute video. If you're in air, if you want to invest in air, you need to do that. So don't just buy based on this. But the ultra bull price target that I had since the beginning of the year, I didn't share it because I'm like, we're so far away. You know, I'm not going to do this. Now since we're not that far away, it's a $230. It's based on historical price to sales at a time of expansion for the automated testing equipment, looking at both Teradyne air test systems and looking at four possible or strongly possible catalysts, which I think 3 out of the 4 would need to happen to hit that price target. Now, the good thing is it only really takes one for them to look at this price and be like, you know, it's kind of justified here. And that one that I think is probably the most likely, although there's another that's pretty close as well on the memory side, is specifically another hyperscaler. They're in conversations with pretty much every hyperscaler, or at least all but one. It's hard to tell how many, but they talk about this guy and what's happening here, and then these guys, and you can just kind of add them up. But every single one of these are large markets. Their revenue is so small that you look at the revenue acceleration that is going to come. And what was really interesting in the earnings call, the most interesting thing was not just them saying, hey, here's these all-time highs, effective backlog plus bookings, but they doubled their production capacity, Tevis. Yep. And the shocking thing about that is they've been making 1 to maybe 2 units a month. They're able to do 20, either Sonoma or Fox XP, which is a wafer level. And so in January, they're like, hey, the reality is we can accommodate orders, we're fine. And that's one of the problems with a lot of these niche players in the automated testing equipment space. They can only put out like maybe 1 or 2 a month, period. Like they don't have a way to scale. And when a hyperscaler comes in, it depends on the hyperscaler and everything, but oftentimes they need a production run of like 20 or so units. There's recurring revenue, there's services revenue, there's some add-ons, but they need at least that. And usually when there's a customer, there's multiple different production runs. Regardless, when they came out this earnings call, they said, hey, we're not content with just being able to produce 20. We're actually outsourcing these through a manufacturing contract with another firm. It's actually, I guess, technically 2, and I don't fully understand that part, but Gain talked about it in the earnings call, so that they're able to do 40 per month. Now, I don't think this means they're going to max out and hit 40 per month because, again, they're doing like 1 or 2 right now. We saw that large Sonoma order, but even then, like that's a month worth of production. So this is something more. And what I think it is when they're talking to these customers, including this massive hyperscaler that wants the high-end, the Fox XP units for a production run. They're in an engineering qualification phase right now. They talked about the clock speed stuff in their earnings call. I think between them, what's happening in silicon photonics, the memory market, several different OSATs as well, like ASE and ISE, they have a whole bunch of them. And Gain talked about this in January too, where some of these, not all, but some of them are going to lead to a lot of production. And as a result, they want to send the signal right now that as they're considering, and maybe that's the biggest reservation, is like, yeah, we're just not sure that you can meet our demand. They're like, okay, we can now make 40 units per month, which, by the way, a single month at 40, That's more than the revenue of the last 3 years combined. That's in a month. So I'm not saying that they get to 40, but I'm saying 20, at least to some customers that are potential customers right now that
Mhm.
probably will be future customers, looked like it was not going to be enough. That is a strong signal. So that there's speculation. There's nothing guaranteed from that. But if they land this hyperscaler, if they continue to land a couple other silicon photonics, they entrench themselves in that. With the OSAT side, if they actually have another partnership with another one beyond the ASE and ISE that they talked about last quarter, and also the memory space, all of these are massive. They are TAM expanders in some cases. They're thesis confirmations and bring a meaningful source of not only just short-term lumpy revenue, but also long-term through servicing. And about 30% of their revenue on these units does come back in terms of the wafer and die pack, which this is not how they function, but you can kind of think of those as selling the, well, it's a razor and blade model, right? You're selling the razor handle itself, and then you have these blade cartridges that people buy. That's what it's called there. I think of it as like buying the printer and then needing inkjet. That's not what it does, but that's kind of the way to think about it.
That's very interesting. Chadster is poor. Chadster, he's a doctor explaining a stock that's 4x in 4 months. All right, shut up and listen. Learn something. Jeez.
Yeah, we can move on from air, but yeah, it's that's what's going on. It's just basically speculation that not only the current demand that we see that's accelerating rapidly is happening, but that there's a lot more to come. And I think that there is. It's just a question of when.
Yeah, like, okay, so what I want to know is what are you doing with your position? Because last time we spoke, you were closer on the cutting side than you were on the adding side. You're kind of in the middle, but like I would say closer on the reducing your position side.
Yeah, I intentionally, when I've got on this plate, I am terrible at taking profits. And I value that on names, especially like this, where I mean there is froth, there is speculation, and so I'm going to take some profits. So I was like, hey, I'm going to write some covered calls at 50 and 55 and take some initial profits. People were like, oh, you're crazy for not taking it in the 30s. I think it's going to get there. So took profits there through covered calls. So and then I took some at 65. I have some sold at 95. And then I have, so those are even underwater right now. And then I have about 30, oh, it's close to 40% of my initial position that is unencumbered. No covered calls, no anything. Those I'm being very careful with. I'm not like the premiums are ridiculous, Tevis. Don't even look because you're going to be tempted. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. I'm not even writing covered calls right now on this. I don't understand the price action right here. Like it's very frothy and speculative. I do think ultra bull case, low odds that it actually happens this year. Part of it might. Over the next 3 or 4 years, I think we get there, which would be another 2.5x over the next 3 years. So yeah.
2.5x over the next 3 years sounds like the most like paltry, like, ew, I don't even want that. That's like, I might as well go in dividend stocks compared to like the 4x in 4 months. But hey, it's done a 10x in the last year, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
And,
up
and
over
Sklman said, I took out a second mortgage. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. Tevis maybe, but no, I did do something degenerate like way back in January when they had their earnings call. I'm like, these are great. They're not listening. It's just algorithms. I used margin to buy shares. I'm out of margin. I have cash now, but I don't use margin. And that
makes one.
I mean, I was just like, I can't wait. I have to buy this now. I don't think it's going to be here. And that was like at $21. So that worked out well.
Yeah. What was I going to ask on air? Yeah, dude, okay, so here's the thing. I have, as you know, I have covered calls on most of my position at 65 from May 15th. Roy, I can roll those up from 65 to 70 for a credit or for June, or I can roll them up, get this, to 95 for September for a credit. I can roll them up $30 and still get paid to do that for September.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, like, I would be tempted to do that just because, I mean, the way I look at it when I'm rolling covered calls is this is money that, I mean, it could always fall in what I really regret not letting the covered calls go. And usually the answer is no in that kind of scenario where they're deeply like this. So I'll just look at the share price between where you've sold covered calls. Where are your covered calls right now?
What do you mean? Where are they?
What strike?
65.
Is it 65 per May?
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
So yeah, basically you're looking
Whoa.
at
Roy. Breaking news. SpaceX is buying Cursor.
Are you pulling my leg? Oh man,
SpaceX is buying Cursor.
that's crazy. So yeah, if you guys don't know Cursor, it's like in the second rung of private companies that a lot of people want to own or have. That is not a.
It's a New York Times, but still. So hold on. Cursor has given SpaceX the right to acquire the company for $60 billion later this year, or pay $10 billion for them to work together in a partnership. We gotta hold on. I gotta find actual sources for this because this seems like it's just breaking right now.
Well, yeah. Well, so like Evan is somebody that I absolutely trust. Like he's very, very careful. I've never actually seen him post anything that was wrong, unless it was the news source itself that was wrong. So yeah, when I see Evan, I'm like, yeah, he's right. There's others that are just like too quick, and they don't do actually research things.
So I saw this thing, Roy. Since we're on the SpaceX topic, I saw this thing, and I'll see if I can pull it up. But Elon had apparently purchased $1.4 billion worth of SpaceX. Oh, Elon's like retweeting this. Hold on. What am I saying?
Okay.
He had apparently purchased $1.4 billion of SpaceX stock. And I saw it this morning. And immediately I thought to myself, this mofo is merging SpaceX and Tesla. This is like how he gets majority control. It's absolutely a done deal if I know that he's buying SpaceX stock. So Elon just reposted this from SpaceX officially. SpaceX and Cursor are now working closely together to create the best coding and knowledge work AI. The combination of Cursor's leading product and distribution to expert software engineers of SpaceX million H100 equivalent Colossus training supermodel will allow us to build the world's most useful models. Cursor has also given SpaceX the right to acquire Cursor later this year for $60 billion or pay $10 billion for our work together.
So basically, a $50 billion price tag to acquire Cursor.
Cursor,
because they're going to pay the $10 billion no matter what.
Sorry, Cursor is paying SpaceX. What?
Wait, no.
Exactly. No, I think SpaceX is paying Cursor $10 billion to work together.
Yeah. It's SpaceX is paying Cursor $10 billion no matter what, and then if they want to acquire them, it's just $50 billion more, 5x of that. Which the acquisition probably makes sense, but yeah, I don't remember. It's a pretty rare thing when you're getting serious about an IPO and then you do a major acquisition. I can't think of another example. I'm sure that there are. That is wild. Does this okay? So SpaceX, we've talked about it a little bit before. I don't want to like beat around the bush or beat and repeat ourselves, but the valuation is extreme. It's crazy. Does this change your opinion on SpaceX at all? And say, hey, I actually want to own this if they end up owning Cursor?
This is like,
you're not even monetized on X. Come on.
I am. What are you saying?
Oh, you are?
Before
Okay.
you, bro.
For some reason, I guess you get paid. For some reason, I thought that you were not getting. Anyway, good. I'm glad you are.
Okay, your question was what now, sir?
We know that SpaceX, if it gets a $2 billion valuation, or $2 trillion rather, $2 billion would be amazing. It's ridiculously expensive. We already talked about that. Does this, if it's the same valuation, they acquire Cursor for $60 billion, does it move the needle for you at all?
No, I don't think I'd buy it at $2 trillion, even if they had Cursor. Dude, you know how many spelling mistakes are in my posts? Obviously, I don't use AI. Yeah, I don't know, man, because I stand by what I said in my tweet right now. It's like, dude, they'll buy Cursor for 60 billion and they'll have a valuation bump of like 300 plus billion because they bought them, you know? So if you actually look at the amount of revenue that SpaceX does, it does not nearly justify that 2 trillion valuation. But then again, you have to say, oh, well, you know, all these people are going to come at me because like they're a monopoly and who else can take payloads to space? And I think we have to talk about ASTS too, because that was an interesting story this week. But it's good. I think Elon is obviously noticed that he's falling behind. Grok is the shittiest model out there. Grok does not offer, you know, coding like Claude does. And so, and he even acknowledged this. He posted last week when somebody basically said this. He posted saying, like, everybody else had a head start on us. Like, you know, they had multiple years of a head start. And so Grok is like catching up kind of thing. And that's fine. This is strategic because it puts them, ideally, puts them back in the running because it'll allow that AI component to go faster, right? Now, I don't know how fast they're going to integrate. I don't know if they're going to end up acquiring them for 60 billion. 60 billion feels like a steal to me. But we'll see.
Yeah. That does seem cheap. I don't know what they're previously valued. I'd actually have to look that up. But yeah, Cursor's interesting.
Well, Anthropic recently surpassed OpenAI's valuation. They're trading in the private markets right now for about $1 trillion valuation. OpenAI, I think, is like 850 billion, something to that effect. And so that's why it seems cheap. But 60 billion is not cheap. It's like, you know, 2 SoFi stacked on top of each other. But you know, 3 SoFis maybe. but, but it's cheap in the AI world, I guess. 60 billion is like 1.5x the size of Nebius, dude.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. We've seen some interesting pivots. We talked about previously, you know, a couple of names that like shoe company pivoting and doing data center. SpaceX buying Cursor is, I don't know, not on my bingo card.
Yeah, dude, look at this. So let me throw this up for 1 second here. SpaceX draft IPO filing says Elon bought 1.4 billion of employee shares last year and could receive another 60 million shares if the company's valuation climbs towards 6.6 trillion. This mofo is 100,000% merging these two companies, Roy. It is like clear as day because his main goal right now is for him to get majority voting presence in Tesla one way or another, right? If he doesn't get it with plan A, which is the employee stock package, he's going to get it with plan B to essentially backdoor it through SpaceX shares once SpaceX merges with Tesla. Him making this purchase last year is strategic. Him buying Cursor, him adding all of this AI valuation stuff, all of that is deliberate. He is absolutely going to merge SpaceX and Tesla. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I can believe it. I'm not going to argue with you. ASTS. Let's talk about that since we're talking about space. So this was pretty interesting. So there's a whole thread of this, so you can kind of go back and see. But essentially, they deployed this satellite here, Bluebird 7, and it was too low. And so as a result, it could not sustain operations. They'll relaunch a replacement. This is, by the way, for Blue Origin. And so, yeah, it's going to be deorbited. Insurance will cover the loss, but it is certainly a loss of face. You know, anytime that you take a claim like this, your rates as well likely go up. So the stock, you know, it fell a good bit. It's not up this year. It's one of those that there's been a lot of retail people that have been in this stock. It looks like it's down about 4% year to date right now, up from the low. So I'm kind of curious what your take was on this, and are you interested in getting in any of these space names? Rocket Lab would be another one, of course.
I'm kind of scared to get in Rocket Lab at this point because, like, Matt is actually gonna strangle me. That's like the only reason because he like begged me to get in at $4 in February 2023, and I didn't because I'm an idiot. But ASTS, I think, is an interesting story. So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a Blue Origin rocket that took up the ASTS satellites, and they didn't take them up high enough, and as a result, they like entered back into orbit and will
Oh,
burn. Is that correct?
you're right. You're right. I had it backwards. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So it wasn't even their fault, right? So this drawdown in ASTS should be a buying opportunity because the stock fell quite a bit on the back of this, Roy. Let's take a look actually how much it fell, and let me share my screen so I can show all of you guys. So ASTS, if we look at the last week, it's down 18% here, and yeah, I was trading for about $100 on April 14th. And down here is where it fell from $86 down to 74. It has picked up. So it's made up a lot of that like initial, drawdown. But at the same time, like it's understandable why, Roy, because it wasn't their fault. Like they didn't have the rocket essentially. They have the satellites. And so if I was bullish on ASTS, like I would be buying. Again, this is like a very super simplistic, kind of caveman take, but people are blaming ASTS and it's like, well, dude, like I don't know what to say, it's just if I'm a passenger on the Titanic and the Titanic, crashes into an iceberg and people are blaming me, people are like, oh, dude, that Tevis, like, like I was just a fucking passenger, man. That's not my fault. That's my
Yeah.
my understanding.
It does seem like that. I've never really been interested in owning ASTS necessarily. Rocket Lab was one that I did the due diligence and I was like, the price. I tried to get too cute with the price. It retraced, or did not retrace like I expected, and as a result, I missed it. And so that was a extremely costly but also valuable lesson to adopt for me in a bull market. The invest then investigate phase. So take a look, see if you like it, invest enough to keep you interested, and then do your due diligence and build the position or get out. So, yeah, but I'm kind of the same way. Like Rocket Lab has flown up so high. I think it can definitely go higher, but every single one of these space names is, they're differentiated. Like Voyager's another one, VOYG, that's of course building Starlab. But all of them are speculative, but I think the direction that we're going as far as technology is not really that speculative. So it may feel like frothy and scary at these levels. I don't think any of these are necessarily bad or terrible buys here. I just have a hard time on like what's the highest quality. I'd love Rocket Lab, but I don't know that I want to buy it here. And Matt will probably remove me from Texas forcibly for saying that. So
Yeah, it's fair. I know he's not watching because I would have gotten a call by now being like, you love being poor, don't you? Look at this, Roy. Starlink 2025 operating income 4.4 billion, XAI operating loss minus 6.4 billion. Total capex 20 billion, 5x in 2 years on capex. Bro, we got to look at this prospectus for SpaceX, man, because this is
oh yeah,
from a numbers perspective, this makes Tesla's like, investing in Tesla, like, based on the fundamental story, it makes it seem like child's play.
yeah.
If you look at Tesla's financials versus their valuation, it's bananas. SpaceX makes that look like a value play, honestly. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but people buy it.
Related to Rocket Lab, Energy Drink had a good comment holding Rocket Lab until Neutron delivery. That's what a lot of shareholders of Rocket Lab are waiting on, and they have approval. We'll see. Like I think it's a matter of course, when they're successful, not if. But this is one of several measures SpaceX has their own as well that looks to reduce the cost for payload in space. Google had done some research. I don't know. I'm sure Rocket Lab has talked about this, and I know Elon has. I just don't remember the figure. But basically, dropping the cost for the payload over the long term by about 80% to about $200 per kilogram, which would be the really beginning of the price point where things like data centers in space would be economically viable. Like it's still expensive. There are some merits to it, but Yeah, it's going to be something that's it's Javon's paradox again. Just the cheaper things get, the more that people are like, oh man, like asteroid mining, or I'm sure that there's maybe companies that already focus on that, but at some point in our lifetime, I think Tevis, like that sort of stuff, moon base and voyages to Mars and maybe real space tourism, I don't know, become a reality, and maybe sooner than we expect. Now that's not 5 or 10 years out, but you know, could it be in the 2040s that we see that? It
Bro, I'll
doesn't
be
seem
dead by
crazy.
then.
I don't know. I prefer the utopian dream rather than dystopian, but you're living in Canada, so I kind of get why you're negative.
I'll be in like a Canadian work camp by then, you know?
Yeah.
Or
Could you throw up Matthew
for
Johnson's
who?
comment there? Are these space names getting bid up for the data center in space or more the satellite network?
Yeah. We'll,
I,
we'll get to him eventually, Roy. We
you're
got
gonna
we
make
got
him
stuff
wait?
to talk about, man. Matthew Johnson
All
can
right.
wait. He asks like 20 questions every stream. He can wait.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, let's then I think talk about Apple. It's not something that we talk about much. Neither of us are shareholders. Of course, it's been a great gainer over the long term, but Tim Cook is out. This is something that people have talked about actually
we've
for
talked about
years.
we've talked about it this year.
Oh yeah. But he is actually going to be replaced by the guy who developed the M series chip, it's really the crown jewel as far as over the last decade of Apple innovation, and it's a really good product. But this is just a lot of people have been, and myself included, have been hard on Tim Cook. He is quite the operator. You're the innovator right here, and you look at all this innovation, and yes, there are some innovations here, but like it's the M1 chip right there. AirPods, yeah, I guess, but that's 2017. That's almost a decade ago. But he has led led Apple very well. But I think right now they need an innovator, and of course somebody that understands Apple quite well, and that would be this new CEO. I was looking at Turnus.
Would it be though?
He's an engineer.
Would it be?
What's that?
Like, I don't necessarily think this is the guy, man.
You don't think Turnus is?
No, I don't. What makes him the guy? Just because he was the brainchild behind the M chips? So what? Like, it was an engineer making engineering optimizations. Like, that's not innovation to me.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. He may not be the guy, but I think the approach is right. Whether he's a guy or not, he has to prove it. What I like about the approach is they don't need another operator right now. You are in the age of AI. You're letting it bypass you entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's the right approach, but that's not because they didn't try. They tried and they failed. They failed so many times on innovation outside of the M series chip. So if Turnus, and reading about him, I didn't know much about him beyond just what I've read with these announcements, but I've read a fair bit since then. He seems like somebody that actually understands and embraces innovation, that he's not going to be looking at how can we save this % by doing this, the efficiencies. They have that in place with Tim Cook. They have that in place with people that he's hired, that he's recruited, that he's trained and mentored as well. They need innovation, Tevis. And if they don't have it, Apple will continue to exist for a long time, but it's going to be in slow decline. And it's kind of ridiculous too, because honestly, like if they were able to innovate and put out a good product for this, I would think that Apple would be the #1 leader as far as a commercial bot, but they don't have anything like that. Maybe they can put a label on it and call it theirs.
Yeah.
Just people love and trust the Apple network. They love and trust Apple products. They love the integration as well versus Tesla. Like, yeah, Optimus is really cool and I'd love to have one, but Elon is so divisive. There's a ton of people that would never, ever let one of the Optimus bots in there.
I could not care less that Elon is divisive. And the reason why is because that technology will exist in the world versus somebody who is politically correct and non-divisive, and yet we have no movement forward from a technological perspective. Because for every one Optimus, you have 100 others. You have the Figures of the world, and you have all of these competitors chasing it. I agree, Apple does need innovation. And every single year that passes, Roy, Apple will need innovation even more to avoid becoming stagnant, more so than they already are. And John Turnus, I think that's his name, I don't think he's the dude, right? What does Apple need? Apple needs to fully embrace AI. Apple needs to get into this race. Apple needs software. Apple needs potentially new wearables and big bets. And this guy, so far, what I've seen is he's young, which is good. He's like a lifer at Apple almost, which is not good. And he's a hardware guy. So it's just like, all right, like what confidence does that give me that this is going to be the next guy to take Apple out of this slow, death by a thousand cuts that they find themselves in and that they have been for the last decade. We've been getting incremental optimizations for the last decade. We need big swings. Is this the guy? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see, but it's absolutely the right idea to go after an innovator. If he is the innovator, great. I think that is a fair point of yours that, the M series is great and all, but you would think you'd see more, but I don't know. Maybe that's just what they wanted to focus on. And that M series chip is a fantastic innovation. So,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think that, if this is not the guy, Turnus, Apple is strong enough and resilient enough as a business, they'll be fine. But they may be pretty quick to go a different direction if he ends up not working out in the next 2 years.
He's young was a positive, man, because he can grow with the business. He's not going to be like one of those, Ford CEOs that's here for like 3 years, gets his package, and then is out immediately and doesn't care about the future. So being young is a positive because Tim Cook, and you said it yourself, same age as Tim Cook. Well, hell, dude, Tim Cook stayed at Apple for what, 15 years? If this guy stays for 15 years, that's a positive because it allows stability for Apple shareholders. So being young is a positive, but also Apple needs more big swings right now. Right. And you almost need like a kind of like a sort of counter trend type of rebel, who like SpaceX buying Cursor. How many people's bingo card would that have been on?
Yeah, nobody.
Exactly, right? And it's like, dude, who the hell saw that one coming? But yet it happened. And you're like, okay, that was pretty much a good, like, I think everybody can agree. It's like, oh, wow, that's a good move. Where the hell is Apple? You know what I'm saying? Apple should be somewhere in this race. Dude, they could have bought Perplexity years ago. They still can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that should have been a no-brainer. And they have plenty of cash, too. Matthew Johnson said, that they need to start spending it. Can you throw this up real quick? Because sometimes people think, the cash pile looks like this where it used to be. There's a little bit more to it, but cash and cash equivalents, long-term investments, and short-term investments as well. So those are usually treasury bills versus the long-term debt. And the reality is you can see that this cash pile has declined. A lot of that has been, they print plenty of cash, but they also are financing buybacks at pretty high multiples given where Apple is growing or the lack of growth. So yeah, you do see they do have more total cash and cash-like assets than they do have debt, and they absolutely do need to use it for innovation. But it's not the situation that we saw back in 2017 or 2016.
Yeah,
it was. I think in hindsight, like when you have a business like Apple, like it's fine to do buybacks, especially to offset stock-based compensation. But when you're doing that instead of innovating, that's a big problem.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see what he does. He's not taking over until September. Do you think Tim Cook is getting another job, or do you think he's just retiring at this point?
I think he's done.
Yeah, me too.
He'll probably be on the board. He's probably on the board already of several companies.
Yeah.
But I mean, he doesn't need money. Has an incredible legacy. I don't know why you would jeopardize any of that versus just enjoy your retirement and sit on the board for a couple of companies. Oh yeah. Like I don't know. I don't think that would actually be crazy. He owns a lot of Nike too. He keeps buying it. He is on the board, correct?
I think so. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I don't think so, but man.
Yeah, logistics consultant. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Apple, like, people are saying like Apple, gets under my skin, and it's like it's one of those unique names that will always get me irritated because it's just like it's so emblematic to me of a company that squandered their potential, and they used to be the company, like the leader, trailblazer, and now it's just like, oh yeah, Apple, like it's a dinosaur.
Well, you could say the same thing for Nike. Like, I think
Sure.
1977 is when it launched.
1,000%.
And dude, like they were ridiculously disruptive and innovative. Like their
Yeah,
culture was vibrant. Now they're a shoe company that maybe would benefit from going the Allbirds route and just say, "Hey, sorry about the shoe business, guys. We're going away from it. We're going to be a data center now."
dude, until late, right? Like not even in the 70s with the running shoes, but like Air Jordan, like
Yeah. Oh
what
yeah.
a deal, and like it's made them billions. Like Nike was really innovative, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Is Phil Knight still, around, like on the board or whatnot? Like, is he still involved?
I actually don't know.
I don't even know if he's alive.
He is, yeah. Well, unless something happened recently. So
$26 billion for Phil Knight, 88 years old. God bless.
yeah.
All right.
Right.
And SoFi, just a wee bit for the people.
Yeah.
All right, let me mark it. Are you going to mark it down?
You can go and mark it. I'm going to pull up the post. All right. This is probably what you're referencing, I'm guessing, but maybe not. It could be earnings that you want to talk about, but I thought this was really interesting. So they noted here, this isn't just it was just interesting the way it's worded. We're headed to Inman Connect to collaborate with real estate and industry leaders to help build the future of home ownership. See you in Nashville. And of course, this is a pretty major event in a market where, of course, SoFi had bought out Wyndham. They have a product there, but this has been a tough place to be, really, for multiple years. So I don't want to read too much into this, but I'm kind of wondering if there's another major announcement that's coming out. We've seen just this year the big business banking already, in addition to them like really launching the crypto platform and business. It's been interesting to see what they do. Do you think that we're going to see something out of this, or is this just a random retweet? That's it.
I don't know. I don't really want to comment too much on this because of my job.
Oh, okay.
Let's move. I want to talk about earnings though, because I think that's going to be interesting. All right. So I put up this post, and there's a couple of things. Roy, have you done your earnings predictions yet, or not yet?
I've started them, but I've not done. I need to do a little bit more work.
Okay,
Hopefully
so maybe this will spur a little bit of thoughts for you. But like, there's a couple of things that analysts will either misinterpret or take out of context for this earnings. Number one is tech platform is going to look really bad because Q1 last year had Chime, and now that it's gone, members in Q1 last year was like 154 or 158 million, something like that. And this quarter, it's going to be like 130. So expect like negative 15% year over year for tech platform. It's going to get taken out of context. Even if they grow from Q4 to Q1, which I expect they will, it's going to take the comparable period is really tough. Number two.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You said they grow. Are you referring to the tech platform quarter over quarter revenue growth? From quarter four to quarter one?
Account growth.
Okay. Account growth. Okay. All right.
Yeah, member growth.
Makes sense.
Number two, staying on the tech platform. LaPointe said in Q2, quote, approximately 10 new clients that are going to contribute revenue in Q1 26 that did not contribute revenue in 25. Basically saying, hey, we have some new clients coming in Q1 2026. So I do think revenue is going to go up for the tech platform as well as the members, Roy. Because management basically told us this 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about revenue. Like it will year over year. that was a huge amount that Chime paid all at once. So, and oftentimes, like them onboarding or contributing in quarter one doesn't mean that they were using the tech platform the entire quarter. So, I would say it's very likely that the revenue itself will decline, even if the number of members on the tech platform increase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I think tech platform is gonna like get better and better throughout 2026. As it like, I mean, it can't get worse than 2025, I guess, but I do think it's gonna have a redemption arc. And then two other things or three other things to keep in mind. Q1 is the only quarter where all the sports converges. So TGL, Super Bowl, NFL, NBA. That's like the highest brand exposure from sports, I would say.
Yeah.
We're going to have the first full quarter of crypto. So we only had 9 days in Q4 and we got 63,000 new products. We're going to see how many new products we have from crypto. I think this is where my prediction versus yours versus like Tanner's versus, whoever else is going to, I almost said Chris for a second, is going to vary wildly because we don't have enough data here. And then this is also the first quarter of the warehouse pay down because they raised that money to pay down their warehouse facilities. And LaPointe said they save about 110 million in annualized funding cost that flows through. So you're going to see this in the financials as well. So in the corporate revenue is my guess.
That's great. Yeah, and I think I probably would say let's not go into your individual predictions.
We're not. No.
Watch Tevis's video if you want to see those. So
yeah, those are just some like interesting tidbits that you might have missed, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I love that, and that way I'm not being colored as far as your numbers because I intentionally actually try to avoid your feed and Tanner's feed and in the past Chris's feed as well because I was like I do not want to see these numbers until I put out my own because they're going to color what I think. I'll be like, well, I think this, but these guys think that, and so I want to not just be an echo chamber. So
yeah, and it makes it more interesting to watch as well if everybody is like a little bit different in their predictions.
Yeah.
But
it's one, at least for me, Tevis, and part of the reason why I'm taking a little bit extra time, busyness on one hand, but this is one of the harder quarters to predict. A lot of it is because of the reasons that you cited. Like, it's the first quarter that, and then you insert those 4 different elements. So,
yeah, crypto is going to be a really interesting segment just to see the adoption, right? Because you can imagine that in the beginning you have a huge wait list for crypto, and so it might be front loading the actual product count, or you could say that. So, for example, one thing I highlighted in my video, and not to bias you, but they did do a giveaway, right? If you signed up for crypto, they did a giveaway. They were giving away 1 whole Bitcoin if you made like 3 transactions by the end of January, and so, well.
Entering you into a drawing. Yeah,
exactly.
It would be wild if like, hey, do 3 transactions, we'll give you a whole Bitcoin.
Oh,
all right, I'll do that.
Not like that.
You'll have all the members, and also you'll be bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so beyond that, they also have had a generous referral program, and actually one person asked for me to give them a referral code, $25. So it's not like, as far as a referral, like ridiculous or amazing, but for SOFI, that's a really generous referral. Usually they reserve the large amounts for the loans specifically if you refer them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have a lot of... Dude, Wednesday, the 29th, is going to be hectic. It's going to be craziness. You have so many companies that are all reporting. So... yeah, I hope you bring your A game for that one, Roy.
I am so thankful for whatever reason that Robinhood moved up their earnings to Tuesday because they're always on Wednesday in the afternoon. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be, oh wait, Robinhood's Tuesday, yes. So yeah, Hood at night, SOFI in the morning.
Mm-hmm. All right, is there anything else to chat about or shall we get to our questions?
Yeah, Amazon specifically,
Oh, yes.
and
HIMS.
And HIMS, yeah, it actually goes right into it. Let me pull up these links real quick because there's a couple
So
of them.
first, do you want to do Amazon Anthropic and then?
Yes, go ahead and share that, and then I'll talk about the other.
Yeah, Amazon investing 25 billion into Anthropic. Let me pull that up real quick. So they have a partnership with Anthropic, and they're gonna be here. You go. I'll pull it up right now. Amazon is investing up to 25 billion in Anthropic, 5 billion today, up to 20 billion more tied with commercial milestones. Anthropic committed to spend $100 billion plus on AWS over the next 10 years. That includes up to 5 gigawatts of compute capacity and current plus future generations of Trainium chips. Total Amazon commitment is up to 33 billion. Honestly, I think this is genius. And the reason why is because Amazon is the largest stakeholder in Anthropic. So they profit off of, Anthropic appreciating in value. And then you're investing 25 billion so long as Anthropic spends 100 billion on your hardware. It's a little bit of that like circular investment stuff that we were talking about with Nvidia and whatnot. But now that it's a stock that I own, I think it's genius. But no,
So
I think it's smart.
Incest is okay if it's your family, then, Tevis. I see. No,
Bro, you gotta come up with better analogies, man. You're gonna make me sound but now you totally threw me off. Here's the thing though. Here's why I think it's big. I think it's big because Amazon, with their ambitions to be a hardware player in the chip space, they're going to have some tough competition. Trainium and AWS together could be like a bundle offering that could be very compelling. But if Amazon wants to be serious in the chip game, they need to actually have a really compelling value proposition. And if they can lock in Anthropic to essentially be, a core provider, 100 billion plus, and they can do a couple of other partners through that same methodology, then they guarantee the success of the hardware side of their business immediately. And so to me, it's a genius move because they're investing 25 billion to get a 4-to-1 ROI because Anthropic has to spend 100 billion. But not only that, it's a genius move because for Anthropic to spend 100 billion, it's going to be several years of spending that they're locking them in the Amazon ecosystem and entrenching them further as a long-term client.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. It's a win-win. Amazon's doing a lot of things right now, and it doesn't mean everything that they launch like this is definitely going to be a roaring success. Amazon launched a GLP-1 weight loss program nationwide. Injectable treatments start at $299 per month, while oral options start at $149 per month. And of course, that was just today. So they have had a medical platform. They've taken it fairly seriously. Of course, Tevis, it feels like it was a little bit over a year ago that we saw similar headlines of basically their expansion into the generics a lot more and actually trying to make some inroads as far as a market that HIMS had. The price cratered as a result. Anytime Amazon is announced, that's what it does. It doesn't mean it's going to be a roaring success. But any thoughts on this? Because I know you're an Amazon investor. And then let's talk about potential ramifications for HIMS.
For the HIMS stuff? Yeah, I think, Amazon's always been a contender in that space. I remember when HIMS fell from like $33 to like $24 or something last year based on Amazon entering the space. But they're not going to go away. Amazon needs to find as many avenues for shareholder returns as possible, and this is a big one. So I don't know. I think it would be all a matter of execution. How well can they execute it? What would that look like? And how quickly how is it competitive relative to the current offerings in the market, HIMS included?
Yeah. This looks largely as just another option, but the oral option is probably going to interest a lot of people. It's just building out the platform a little bit more, making it look more compelling. HIMS has had a lot of good news as well. So like this I did look at, I'm not a HIM shareholder anymore. It's down a little bit, but not as much as you would usually expect the very volatile HIMs of the past to react to such news. Maybe if it had some impact on some of the others, Eli Lilly's and Novo Nordisk. But regardless, yeah, I think it doesn't really impact HIMS that much. They have a partnership already with Novo Nordisk anyway. This isn't a massive moneymaker for them. It's just an offering that they have on their platform. What's more interesting with HIMS, and it's one of those things where when I accepted HIMS, I'm like, hey, there's some issues. Certainly, there's been some execution issues. There's some leadership risk issues as well. I didn't know that the thesis was broken. I didn't think so, but it's hard to guess. Now, HIMS House, of course, hence the name, is biased towards HIMS, but he's great coverage on the topic itself. And I agree with him. Peptides is something that, of course, has been talked about for a while. It seems that those that are in the administration are in favor, and actually the FDA is actually reviewing, I believe, 12 different peptides. We talked about this previously. HIMS is very well positioned to gain as a result. Now, this is just him asking LLMs, but I think most people would say, yeah, these guys do distribution and marketing very well, and the company that does that, they're the kings. So
yeah, like that doesn't do anything. It's the same as SEO. Like if I search up, weight loss and HIMS shows up as number one, like that doesn't tell me anything.
Well, no, that's not. I'm not saying that as far as the LLM specifically, but rather that this is what really interested me about HIMS. Was one of a couple of things. So one was that they market incredibly well. Like their marketing is top tier, kind of like Duolingo was in the past. Now, marketing alone is not enough if you don't have a good product. But the other is they absolutely nailed distribution. And when you have those two things put together with something that is not just like nobody's going to own just that one peptide and have a trademark on it. So those that are going to do the best are going to be those that actually do very well with distribution and marketing. Amazon has a distribution. The marketing side, as far as Amazon Medical, it's not really that great. There are others that will do very well on the marketing side, but they have not nailed distribution. So like it's not interesting enough, and I would need to see a lot more to want to get back into HIMS. But that is a pretty compelling narrative for HIMS Bulls.
Yeah.
Welcome amidst crew.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know, man. I'm out of it. I know HIMS was up like 100% in the past, however many last weeks or something. It's like $30 or something it reached. But it doesn't
retrace a little bit, but yeah, it's they're out of the doldrums, and a lot of that's the lawsuit risk is certainly over. There's been a couple other things for HIMS that have been very good too. So, but
yeah, I mean, again, I'm taking the Amazon news with the same grain of salt that I took it last year when it dropped, pretty much around this time actually. So, not super fussed about it. I think Amazon's just going to play their game, and HIMS has to keep up. And marketing, as we know, is not a deep moat at all. So yeah.
All right, ready for Q&A?
One question for you. Let me start off Q&A. If Anthropic has a deal with Nebius, or Amazon has a deal with Nebius, how quickly do you think it'll take the other one to do a deal with Nebius? Like a week, 2 weeks?
I mean, I don't know their situation, but yeah, probably not long. No, the one thing that I'll say though is they may not be happy with the answer as far as like how soon can you actually get this capability built out. It takes a little while. But yeah, like the moment either of those or even others are announced, Nebius is probably past 200. And I hate that because I have underwater covered calls.
If Amazon announces a deal with Nebius, I mean, it depends on the size of the deal. But if Amazon announces a deal with Nebius, and Nebius is going to go to 200, and then Anthropic comes in a week later and announces a deal with Nebius, dude, this thing is going to the moon.
Yeah. All right. Good question. Yeah.
Just saying.
Man, I would love for Nebius. It needs to retrace so I can get out of my covered call. I will pay money to get out of that covered call.
You might end up paying money to get out of them.
So one of them is I think it's 140 or 145, and it's like 2 weeks out. The others, thankfully, I I think they're no longer underwater. I'm not as worried about them. I was a little bit more careful, thankfully. Yeah, it's not underwater. I think 165 is where those are. So good. Still, it's making me sweat, man. I don't like this feeling because I'm okay with them going away, but so I'm not going to like redeem them right here. Nebius is a very volatile stock, but I have a feeling that we're going to hit 200 before we hit 100. We may not see 100 again.
I mean, I need to close out my covered calls. I think my covered calls for this Friday are fine. Might eat those words, but I think they're fine. But my covered calls for May 15th at $200, I got to close those. I think
the only thing that could save us is maybe you writing cash secured puts at a lower level.
Brother.
And then they would fill.
My average cash secured put on Nebius, I think my average is like maybe $25 in the money.
That's
Nebius,
amazing.
When Nebius was at $70, I was writing 110s and 115s. I saw that.
Power just flickered, so if I disappear, I don't know what's going on. It's really actually not bad weather, kind of breaking the storm. So, but yeah.
Okay, thank you for this comment. All right, let's jump into Q&A. Did I buy that watch? No, I did not. I'll probably end up getting something, but I didn't buy that. That was just an exhibition one. I just did it for the memes. Who's getting tacos today? Roy, do you remember when we got tacos last Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays ago?
Yes, delicious as always. Both in terms of real tacos in Texas, of course, but also in what we're talking about as investors. Ironically, I did not. I made breakfast tacos yesterday. There's leftovers today, and I chose to not eat breakfast. So, but tacos are always good.
Mm-hmm. I have $200 January 15th covered calls on Nebius. Yeah, you're screwed. You are absolutely screwed.
Well, yeah, what I'd say is if you're okay with that price when you sold it, you're like, hey, Nebius at 200, great.
Bro, what would you
Don't worry about it.
What would you get paid for those right now? Let me just look it up real quick for you guys. Hold on, really quick.
I'm guessing $3,000. 30. Let's say $33
is your guess?
Yeah.
January of 2027, $200. Yeah, $32 is what you get paid.
Okay, so I was almost right on the money. All right,
bro. Somebody right now, Nebius is at 155, and somebody is guaranteeing you $232 for you to sell. What? It's $80 higher than where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean that's the sirens call of covered calls, and that's what I'm facing with. Okay, since you're on this, pull up and if you don't mind sharing it, air test systems and look at the options.
Hold on, let me just do the math of what with the amount of shares that I got, how much. I shouldn't have done that math. Okay. What?
Oh boy.
What?
Covered calls.
Yeah,
we're guaranteed. If you sell covered calls for Nebius to 200, we're guaranteed 200, whatever that strike is.
If I sold it on my entire position and I got $30, just the premiums alone, I would buy a very nice watch. But what were you asking? What do you want me to look at?
Air test systems, same boy. January, so of next year.
For what strike?
Just if you don't mind, are you able to show it?
I'm on. Sure? Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, I can show it. You got to be careful though.
Yeah.
This is my broker.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what the premiums look like. So $100, you get $37.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's per share. So
$30 for 135s, dude.
Man, it's tempting. And
it's a 59 delta.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it, but man, it's tempting. And the hard thing is the more it runs, and you can look at the delta and gamma and calculate this, or there's a lot of algorithms that do it too. Those didn't even exist as options, Tevis, until the last 3 weeks or something. I think the highest that I saw was 90, and now we're over that in terms of share price. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I think I might do that, Roy. Oh man. Okay, because I have enough of a position left where I can write covered calls on, and I don't know. I think because it's like I don't know if I want to. If my 60 if I don't roll out my 65s and I get them taken away on May 15th, I need to find a home for that money, and I don't know where it goes.
Wix.
Wix, maybe. I was thinking about that actually. Dude, you read my mind sometimes. We've been on this show too long. You read my mind. Yeah, Wix was I thought about doubling down in the Roy picks, or I guess Manuel, but
It's definitely Manuel.
Yeah, I was like, take my air money and then just buy leaps on Wix and actually not sell these ones. Because I would have been a freaking billionaire on my air calls.
Yeah. I've not. I don't have a lot of Wix yet. Like, it's a decent check. It's decent enough to write covered calls on, but I've not. I'm like, nope. I looked at the premiums. I don't even remember what they are, but I'm like, no, I'm not tempted by that. It's going to double.
Yeah, guys, I had okay, so get this. When air was at $24, I bought $40 calls for September of this year. And I sold those for when air was at $33 and I like doubled my money or whatever. I was really happy. Air is now at $100. It would have been $60 in the money with like 5 months to go, 6 months to. Oh man. And I thought I was smart because air fell after that. I was like, oh man, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I was smart enough to learn from my past with Palantir, actually, and not just write everything as covered calls. It's like, no, I'm going to use them to either get some premium or sell, and force myself to sell and not get out of them, or yeah, just let it ride. And otherwise, not even that long ago, a week and a half ago, I was looking at the 95s. It's kind of the same setup where they were paying obscene amounts of money. We were at like $60 a share. I'm like, man, this is only a month out. This is great. Not going to do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's continue. Roy, why did you invest in VG and not Next?
Because I like to make money when I invest in stocks. So
we literally had the same answer. This is weird, Roy. This is weird.
All right. Yeah, oh man, that's so funny.
And I tax loss harvested it.
What is Next? No, serious answer. Kind of that, actually, but it's VG is actually making money right now. They're delivering quite a bit, and they benefit short term from any widening of the spread, which is wider. Henry Hub actually prices here for the United States has fallen. Actually, it's looking quite low, but Venture Global is really two businesses because they're a shipping business as well, vertically integrated. But regardless, they're able to benefit better than any company on the planet for this year on that spread. Now, part of that changes next year as Plaquemines, gets beyond the commercialization phase specifically, and Calcaso, I always say that one wrong, CP1. But for now, they have a lot of cargoes that are untapped, and I'm like, dude, this is an opportunity. I think we're understating the demand for AI in the future, and ultimately what's needed for energy. And it's not this one's going to be better than that one as far as energy. I'm just like, okay, what is the market discounting? The other factor too is VG had fallen to levels. I think we were on Bootleg Weekly and it was like $8 a share, and I was like, I was interested at 16. I kind of lost sight of it. I'm like, I'm buying some now, and it's like 100 shares, and I did that like 3 or 4 streams. Then I got serious about VG in December and January because I'm like, this is a great company. It feels like everything negative has been priced in and nothing positive. And almost always that's a mistake with the stock. So I was like, I'm going to load up on my VG position before we get deep in January. And just, But I liked it because they're revenue profitable right now. I really like also their modularity that they do with those trains. Usually it's one massive, and that's what Nex is doing, I believe, as well. Correct me if wrong. But yeah, VG, that modularity has helped them immensely with these CapEx projects. So they handle that very well.
Wow. Bloomberg is reporting Anthropic's Mythos has been accessed by a small group of unauthorized users. So basically, the most powerful AI in the world that they were scared to open publicly has just been hacked.
That's not good. I hope it's not Iran.
I don't know. I just,
And for some reason, the market thinks that cybersecurity needs are going to go
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. Does air ever go down? It's a legitimate
I mean,
question
it's
at
in the
this point.
name.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
rising like air does. So light is air. A lot of airspace on that one. Eventually, it will retrace. I thought it would have before this. I've been wrong. So happy to be wrong.
Yeah. Roy is not Air Jordan for nothing. And I love how like this screenshot was on April 6th and it was at $51. It's a double
Yeah.
from here.
That
Bro,
that price is terrible. I don't want to ever see it again, Tevis.
dude, it's 3 weeks ago.
I know.
It's
It's just,
double.
yeah.
What is going on? Does air ever go down, Roy?
I guess not. No, not anymore.
Like what? It's
Green only.
the,
Well, honestly, like if you look at the weekly, they posted. I don't use a lot of these type of TA formations, but 3 white soldiers, so 3 weekly candles that are
like
green
30
and actually
white soldiers
substantially.
at this point.
Well, it's now 4 if they put it in this week. It looks like that they will, but yeah, it's not the 3 is a very strong indicator of more upside over that next week or whatever time you can look at it on a monthly or daily, but it's better on the weekly, I think.
Dude, it's like a full ass platoon of white soldiers at this point. This thing never goes down. Anyways,
The IV is just crazy on this option.
yeah.
Like I don't regret selling the options. The one thing is I regret when I sold the options because if I sold 95s now, Tevis,
Oh,
it's an
but
obscene amount of money. Obscene versus I got like 350, $400 per contract. So
it's insane, man. Some things it's just like printing money. Like, dude, to be up 4x in such a, it's not like the act of being up 4x. It's like it being up 4x in like a couple of months. You're just like, holy crap! Like, you're just gonna give me this money? All right. I wish I invested more, honestly. And I increased my position when it went to $33 when it like pulled back in February, and I'm glad I did, but I should have gone in more. But yeah, sorry, go on.
So here's a crazy thought, and this I've got tons of stuff wrong, guys, as well. And you'd look at Air and be like, man, this guy must be up a ridiculous amount. I'm up a decent amount now, but in 2024, I had my first 10x Tevis. It was Palantir.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, I had my second 10x Tevis. It was Robinhood. In 2026, is Air going to be my third? My average is 19.
It's already well, no. In 2025, you also had HIMS, right?
It wasn't a 10x for me. No, I got in at like 17 or 14 or something. My average was like 28 by the end of it. So no,
Awesome.
I'm not counting. Yeah, I'm counting like share price, not options.
Eric could be your third 10x.
It shouldn't happen this year, but if it does, man, dude, 3 10x's in a row.
That's like that would be incredibly rare to have 3 10x's each in a 1-year span with 3 different stocks.
Yeah, and like if somebody had like 100 stocks, it's still like pretty good, but I owned like 10, and well, Robinhood was the least concentrated. Robinhood was a 5% allocation, so and I've converted a lot of those rather than taking gains into actual shares. Palantir was 90% allocation. Air felt like a lot at 10%, just because it is such a small cap. But yeah, no, Texas is good. Like cheap beef, relatively so. Yeah.
Yeah, Roy needs to start a 10x course.
Here's my next 10x Peloton. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
What's the next stock, Roy? Full porting.
Well, okay. Well, I even remember. I think it may have been on this show, but I think it was actually in the SoFi Weekly, maybe even after hours. We talked about like what stock that we're holding would be a 10x in our portfolio, and at the time, I remember saying, I don't think I have it. A lot of these are 5x's, and I could see that. But if you're talking, unless you're talking like 10 plus years out, it's like I don't know that any of these 10x, and that was before I got into air. So. VG when I was buying it at 7, like I think it also is one, but yeah.
I don't know. I think Nebius could 10x for sure, but I mean, like
it can. Yes.
I don't know, man. Like my first buy of Nebius was like $51. My average is like $80. Manuel was buying it at 25, so like for him, it already is like halfway there, you know.
It would take, I think, the better part of a decade for me, because actually maybe not. My average, I think it's actually below 85. I would have to look. So yeah, so I think it could be a 10x for me, probably more than 5 years, but like 7, 8 years. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Do we have like close to the same average? Because I'm at 80.
Oh, maybe. I would have to look my Webull portfolio because I have a chunk there too. And I didn't buy it all at the same time.
I averaged up quite a bit on Nebius because like after the Microsoft news, like it popped and it never got back like to where it was below the Microsoft news, you know? So
that's something that I think a lot of people can get wrong, is focus on the average share price versus like, so if you take Nebius and like you're buying in the 50s and your initial buys were in the 17s, you would be patting yourself on the back, not too worried about that average. It's in a bull market. Like if it's a great company and you see a lot of upside and your position's not where you want it, there's nothing wrong with averaging up at all.
Oh yeah, we can have the same average, but I would pretty much guarantee I have more shares.
Oh, you do. I mean, your portfolio is bigger than mine. You're a billionaire, so
well, it's not going to be bigger than yours if you keep this shit up. It's just 10x every year.
Well, the fun thing is like, so like, I haven't told like this whole story, but when we entered COVID, we were behind where we should have been in terms of retirement. We were, and a lot of it was just allocating using the 401k matching, doing a little bit beyond that as well, and letting somebody else manage the money. In COVID, we had a little free money, and then I had brain space and time to actually try to learn, and I made so many ridiculous mistakes. AMC I just got lucky with. Like that was a 4x for me. But it's ridiculous how such a small amount of money does so well. And that's the beautiful thing about the stock market is I've gotten a ton of things wrong, a ton. But if you get a couple of things like really, really right, dude, those mistakes don't matter. Like, am I concerned about the money that I lost with PayPal? No, that's ancient history. That went into Air, that went into Nebius, that went into BG. They've outperformed.
I mean, and you have like, many positions, but just think of it this way: like, if you start off with $1,000 and you 10x it once to 10,000, and 10x it another time to 100,000, 10x it a third time, you get $1 million.
Yeah,
three 10x's from 1,000 is $1 million if you just keep doubling down. Yeah. Now, like the point is, like it's insane when you think about it like that. $1,000 to $1 million in 3 years. People will think you're selling cocaine on street corners.
Yeah, and of course the reality is mess here, because if you're not taking profits along the way, there's something probably wrong with you, or you just don't feel risk. Like you love it. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think nobody does. Hold on. I don't think nobody does that. Manuel's a perfect example. The guy's 22 years old, and he like bought HIMS at like $6 sold at 60, but Nebius at 25 as like the vast majority of his portfolio. And like, yes, now he does own other positions. I think he has like 4 or 5 positions, maybe 6. But the point is like he was moving like a bulk of his portfolio, over 50%, into companies that were 10xing for him. So it's possible. It's just like I don't have the balls to do it with my portfolio because like I can blow it up tomorrow. But if you have a smaller portfolio, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the reality is, so a lot of those that do achieve that also lose that just as fast. Like Dogecoin Millionaire, I don't know if you remember that guy.
Yeah, not a millionaire anymore.
No.
All right, let's keep going because the questions keep piling up. And this is not a real question, but it was saved anyways. 90 Day Fiance. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know if I would be good on these game shows, man. But whatever. Did Tevis lose weight? I'm trying to. I got a wedding that I got to attend in June, so I got to actually look okay for that. But I'll keep you guys posted. What MVIS?
Microvision. So I did own them in 2021. Everything went up, including Microvision. A couple of squeezes there too. It was fun. I lost money though on Microvision. I ended up, the thesis broke for me, and I was new enough to just doing individual investing at that time. Made a lot of mistakes. And one of them was the thesis wasn't there for me with Microvision anymore. It looked like Tesla was good enough without LiDAR. That was a thesis for me. I know that they do more than just that. But the premiums were so good for options. I stayed on Mavis much longer than I should have. So ended up selling it, putting it into Palantir. Learned a costly lesson, but yeah, it's been a valuable one. But no, I'm not long-term interested in that at all. I have not even kept up with them. So they may be doing something awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, none of this shit is financial advice, guys. You should know this by now. I know you guys are just poking fun, but this is not financial advice. We're just two dudes on the internet, one of whom is a doctor and has 10x things, and the other one is 100K in margin. So,
The most eligible bachelor in Canada.
I come with a lot of margin debt. I don't get BM&R. What's the thesis? I make videos on it every Saturday where I talk about the thesis. So honestly, just tune in for one of those. Saturday is coming up, and yeah, I'll explain it. We've explained it like 4 times on the stream already. I don't think we want to
Yeah,
step.
I'll be very quick. It's a leveraged bet on Ethereum.
Yes. All right. At what price will you take profits on air?
Already did. The rest of my shares, I'm not sure. I need to see how this plays out. And Gain made an interesting comment about all these different irons in the fire and some of the bigger opportunities at the most recent press release. That's what you're going to look for. And it seems like they may have another massive contract win between now and the end of May, or early June. I didn't quite understand. I would need to read that again. So it's coming fairly soon. I'm like, I think I'm just not going to sell any covered calls. Not going to say, hey, I'm going to take profits at this point until I really see that or the next earnings call.
How did you find air initially?
It was on X. The Transcript was who posted it. They didn't say much about. They just repost interesting things from earnings transcripts, and oftentimes they're things that I'll miss otherwise. And there are companies that I've never heard of, like Air. I was at the time kind of researching and trying to find, and I crossed off. Like, my process is sometimes I can move very quickly on from a company. Oftentimes I'll spend a little time thinking about it, but I had probably gone through dozens and dozens at this point. And Air, when I saw it, and what I saw and stood out for me was they mentioned this mix shift in revenue from where they were previously with silicon carbide, which didn't really understand that much, to an AI processor type of market with automated testing systems. And I don't remember the exact tweet, but it was like, that's interesting. And then I looked them up. I'm like, okay, they're a microcap. They're very profitable. Okay, what is it that they do? Okay, like they're moving testing further upstream. Okay, I get that. Oh man, yeah, AI would really push a lot of things. So I bought some. Then I mentioned it a little bit on X, but just very carefully. I alluded to it here, and then as I developed a position, as I did the investigation that followed the initial investment, just like I think there's something here, so I kept doubling my position, um, and after I think probably a month and a half or so, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is a real position. This is a real company, and I mean I don't know. It's a unique microcap. I'm talking too long for Q&A, but yeah, X. Sorry, Thomas. I'm sure the comments are saying, "Man, does this guy ever shut up?"
No. So Matt Money just called me, and I'm literally live. And like I use my phone as my camera, so like it just froze up my entire system. And then he sent me a voice note, and he says, "You should play it." Should we play it?
Uh, well, it might be Matt singing, which might be a song that's copywritten. Have you heard him? You've heard him sing.
He's a beautiful voice.
He does. Like you. Sorry, Matt. You do not look like a guy that would have a beautiful singing voice, but man, you do. You sing like a canary. So I say we risk it, even if it's a song and we're demonetized. It's probably worth it.
I don't even know if we if I can even like. Can you hear this? Hold on. Can you hear it? You can't.
No. No, I thought I heard something for 1 second.
Maybe I have to share my screen. But hold on, let me see if I can. I don't know if I can play this, man. Maybe I can. Okay, hold on. I'll figure out how to play this message eventually. I gotta figure out. I think I just share my screen, and then I can play it. But I gotta turn this off. Anyways, let's go to the next question. I'll figure this out while you answer. How far can SanDisk go from here?
Yeah, the hard drive. I've seen some interesting like contra narrative articles on that space, and so I don't really understand enough of it, frankly. I think that there's a lot more upside, even if some of those that are bearish are right. But there is, at this point, I would say, quite a bit of speculation too.
Yeah. Have you thought about publishing these streams as podcasts? Dude, we get like 3 views on these as is. I don't know that they would do much better as podcasts.
Yeah, we'd have to see. Yeah, and you guys are great, and so no complaints. But we'd have to see probably a lot more people wanting that.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Next question. Are these space names getting bid up for the data center in space or more the satellite network? If it's for data center in space, is that speculative? Didn't SpaceX just give a disclaimer? I don't know that it's data center. I think that's part of the thesis, but I don't think that's like the entire, reason why it's getting bid up. I think like SpaceX is just like SpaceX is the most proven space name, and with SpaceX going public, it's just going to bring visibility across the board on the space names.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I think I figured out a way. Oh no, never mind. I think. Hold on. Yes. All right. Okay. I think I figured out a way to play Matt's voice note. I had to download the file and add it to StreamYard as like a song. What? We're gonna play it.
All right.
We're gonna play it, Matt. And if you're swearing on this, then I'm gonna get mad at you. All right, hold on. Can you hear this, Roy? Just thumbs up, thumbs down, okay?
You think because you get a new job and you go to South America that you can just ignore me? Who is it? Who are you cheating on me with? Who? Who? Who you cheating on me with? I don't care that you're live. You answer when I call. What kind of bullshit is this?
Matt Money, everybody. That's Matt Money for you.
Comedian.
Yeah. Let's keep going. I was so nervous he was gonna say some offside stuff, but yeah. There you go. All right, let's move on. What's your price target for air? Yeah, you should really watch Roy's videos because he, I believe, posted the new one with the updated price target.
Well, yeah. So I have my base level, which was 70. We're past it, and then the other look in one of the thumbnails. I've got it right there, and then it's a longer video that explains the rationale. Like I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier too.
Any opinion on AMKR?
Amcor. I don't really know enough about it. Sorry. I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, but yeah.
Is this available on Spotify? I don't know if it's the same person, but like, man, if it was like super easy and seamless to make this also on Spotify, I would probably do it. I've just never explored it because who would want to store these on Spotify? If you've seen, 2 or 3 of these, you're like, yeah, this doesn't belong there. Yeah. Will I go to Tanner's meet and greet? Yes, we are doing a Toronto meetup August 15th. Trying to get Roy to join, trying to get Matt to join. You guys should join as well in Toronto, August 15th. I'm sure we're going to be talking about it more as we get closer to the date. I got to make sure I'm in the country. Roy, what's your plan for VG? Are you waiting for the end of the conflict?
No, well, no. I think that maybe prior to today, the price level was like $9 and some change before this conflict broke out. So we were at 11, low 11. So I'm like, we're kind of probably at the floor anyway because they've benefited materially. So I think that there's been some structural changes as far as long-term supply over the next 5 years because of Qatar, about 15% of their Ras Laffan field. So that benefits, and it really goes against the narrative of the glut that was happening a couple of years. They've benefited from this. I want to own them long term. At 11, like that's not enough for me to get out of my shares. So I'm just going to hold. I've not even written covered calls on them recently. We'll wait for further upside. But if we get to over $20, I'd probably take some profits there.
Keep rolling my covered calls on air. Is there a point where I should just close? This is I would also like to know the answer to this question because I'm in the same boat.
So the way I look at it, and I'm in this position with Nebius now with just 100 of my shares, thankfully. So, but it's not, Nebius is not a huge position anyway. So, is if the money that I would make from the higher upside as far as a target over whatever time span is a gain that I would like to have on that amount of money. So I think my Nebius, the covered calls that are in the money right now are $140 for 2 weeks out. I rolled it previously and I was like, oh man, this is, I don't know, maybe $10 a share higher than it was previously. Maybe it was 15, I'm not sure. I think that I got a small credit or maybe it was a small debit. And I'm like, okay, is that amount of gain from the share price going up, another 10 or 15 bucks, that $1,000, that 1,500, something that I'd be happy making over that amount of time span? The answer was overwhelmingly yes. Now, the deeper in the money that the cover call gets, the less that there's actually any kind of premium outside of the intrinsic value of the actual position. You don't have theta. It's not an issue. Rho, it never really is. So anyway, at that point, when you look at it and you'd have to go so far out and so close to where we are right now, and you look at that amount that you'd be making on that amount of capital, and you're like, man, I would not be happy with that return. Or there's a really good home for that amount of money, whether it's you're using it personally for something, or you're like, hey, there's a screaming buy on Peloton. Don't buy Peloton. But if there's a screaming buy on Peloton, you're convinced of that. it makes sense to go ahead and either sell it even early and get out of that, or just wait for it to expire on its own, make a little bit more that way. So hope that makes sense, but that's just how I personally look at it.
Yeah. Thank you both for all that you do, Nebius and Eric to the Moon. Question: will SoFi announce the number of paying SoFi Plus subscribers on earning or too soon? Jason, thank you for your donation. I think they will announce it, just not this quarter. It's too soon for that. It's probably the direction that they want to go. It's just that once you do start announcing something, it sets a precedent. And I don't think they want to invite that level of scrutiny at that granular level so early on.
Yeah. Yeah. That sort of information you usually don't just give away unless there's a reason to do that.
Exactly. Where did you get your BM&R hat? I've been asked this like 20 times.
Market Misfits was the name of the company. They were on X. They're no longer on X. I don't know the whole story there. They just asked if they could send me one. And I'm like, sure, I would love to have one. So, yeah.
Does Dr. Roy and Mr. Tevez ever do poor man's covered calls? I do not, because I don't think I can.
Yeah. You need level 3s. But yeah, I've done them in the past. I've not done them in a while. Most recently, I think was early last year with Robinhood. I had some very deep in the money leaps, and I figured good way to exercise profits if I need to take some profits on the way up, or make a lot of money off the premiums.
Any thoughts on AVAV? I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it. Yeah. Sorry.
Time to look it up. Did you look up the trade desk, by the way? We said we were going to do that last week. I didn't.
I did, yeah. It's interesting. I would probably want to go through the last couple of calls just to see what's going on there. It's clear that at least by profitability measures that there's an inflection point coming. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's one of those. I also have, this is basically an ideas book now. So some with like future videos and content, but sometimes just like stocks, and that's in the ideas book.
Yeah, add AVAV in there. Why did you buy deep in the money cash secured puts on Nebius? Can you explain the logic to us rookies? I thought it was going up. I can maximize my premium, and it's very risky, but that's basically the thesis, because you get the distance essentially from the current price to the strike price baked into the premium. And so if it's at $70 and I'm writing a cash secured put at 100, and there's like, let's say $10 of extrinsic value, there's $30 of intrinsic value. I mean, sure, but that's the way to think about it. So the premium would be like $40. And then eventually that $10 would of time value would whittle down as you get closer to the date. And then at the date, it's just what $100 where it's at minus, let's say it's gone up to 85. Then all of a sudden it's $15 of intrinsic value, and you just made $15. So that's a thesis, at least. Now, if it goes down even further, then you're you don't have a lot of mobility there, because you're kind of screwed, and it's very expensive to buy those back. But when I wrote the 110s and 115s in the 90s, like those three tranches, Nebius was at $70, and actually I think the bottom was like 69, 68 or something like that. So I was just like, this price is ridiculous. Like everything was, Amazon was under 200, Meta was in the 500s. Everything was like the world is ending kind of thing. And I was just like, okay, this is stupid. Like I gave it 3 months to catch up, to bounce back, $30 or whatever. And it basically doubled in those 3 months. So part of it was luck, a big part, sure. But the other part was like, this thing is super volatile. And as a result, the time value is more lucrative due to the IV. So you get sort of more outs if you're thinking about it in like poker terms. Still in HIMS? No, neither Roy nor I are still in HIMS. Is Roy already a billionaire now due to air?
It's helping, but no.
Roy, how many millions? You don't have to answer. Are you letting it ride with a trailing stop? I don't know.
No. No, I think he's maybe referring to air. No, I've taken profits deliberately with the covered calls. Some I'm holding in cash, and some I've rotated into names like Wix. Figure too.
Who would actually hold from 17 to 50 and doesn't take any profit? Good on you guys if you play it like that. I think he's talking about HIMS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, on HIMS I did. On air, my average was in the 19s, but I didn't take profit.
Oh, maybe that too. Yeah, I mean, why would why? I guess you could take a little bit of profit, sure, but like, I don't know. I've had things that I've ridden up like that and don't even think about taking profit because I'm in it for the long run. If you made 10x on Palantir and Hood, does that mean you took profits?
Yeah, so the 10x basically means from when you were buying it heavy, where your average was, it 10x from there. It doesn't mean you didn't take any profits at all. Doesn't even necessarily mean that you take profits. But yeah, I did on the way up. So if you look at like the average gains on those positions, they would not be a 10x. They'd still be very nice though.
Do you think Nebius is going to beat ARR guide? Yes, absolutely. I think they're going to raise their range from 7 to 9 billion. Because back in the end of 2025, they said we're booked for half of 2026. I guarantee you, I mean, I don't guarantee you, but like I'm highly confident that when they report this time around, they're going to be like fully booked for the rest of the year and they're going to have a better line of sight on the ARR guide. I think 10 billion is definitely possible. We'll see. Probably like 8 to 10 is where they'll raise it. Can BMNR go as low as 12? If Ethereum goes to 1200, then BMNR can go to 12.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to happen. It can.
Yeah.
So if I get into the S&P, it didn't, but it's now eligible again to get into the S&P. So
the correct answer is yes.
Yes. Y'all got beef with Steve? Absolutely not. I love Steve. I'm going to have lunch with Steve on Friday, actually, because I'm going to be in his neck of the woods.
Yeah. The issue is time. Like both Tevis and I work jobs that are a lot of hours. This is not our full-time thing, so it's a lot harder to schedule things. Like I was recently scheduling an interview with the CEO that'll hopefully be next month. But even then, like I want to be as open as I can as far as my schedule. But there's some things I cannot just say, "Hey, I can take the interview here."
Yeah. Thoughts on Lucid? No real thoughts. Buy Peloton? Don't do that. Any comments about Palantir and the FAA Smart AI? This is all you.
So I need to do a little bit more digging into that, but man, they have had such incredible good news in these first 4 quarters. I think that you're referring to the actual contract that was won, but there was also one that they were one of 3 companies, and I would need to look up the others that are being allowed to bid on something for the FAA as well. It seems like what they're wanting is a little bit like what Skywise is, which of course Airbus and Palantir partnered on. I think it's Palantir's contract to lose. I really do. So here it is. And the other one I have bookmarked. I didn't actually repost it because I need to do a little more research on. But yeah, FAA administration has brought Palantir and other companies in to manage and compete for a new AI tool. That's very exciting as well. I'm guessing that's what you mean here. So yes, they're going to win that. I would say like 90-something% possibility. I looked at the others too. They're credible, but yeah, Skywise, and it's Palantir.
Yeah. Roy, did you see this news around Adobe approving a $25 billion stock buyback until 2030? Guess how much the stock is up after hours? Just guess. Don't look. Just no. Don't look.
4%.
You think 4% for their market cap is $99 billion. They're doing $25 billion in stock buyback.
Okay. 5.
It's actually 1.5%, 1.8%. I think is the actual number.
Yeah, I did see, like, when you shared that with me, like the stock price was the thing. So I'm like, yeah, it's SaaS. And are they? Do you know if they're tapping into debt for that, or is it just based on future free cash flow? Because I know they're pretty profitable.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're maybe somebody in the chat will know, but like, bro, how in the dumps does sentiment have to actually? Let me tweet that out. You guys can watch me tweet this out. You ready? All right, get ready. How in the dumps does your stock's sentiment need to be to have 1/4 of your current market cap in buybacks over the next 4 years and to only be up 1.5% after hours? Pathetic. Adobe.
There you go. Yeah.
But still,
Also, Wix. Wix is the same thing, and it's in the same space. It's a tough space, and I don't know when the SaaS narrative will turn around. Maybe it already has. I mean, it's inflected up from the bottoming point, but lots of buybacks of very profitable businesses. But there is some true disruption that's happening, and I was talking about this with somebody the other day. But like this summer or later this year, maybe in the fall, we might see a lot of SaaS CEOs lose their jobs or leave for other opportunities. A lot of it because shareholders get frustrated. That's not good then. Like, are you sure though? Because that doesn't make sense. No, I can believe that. I'll just.
Roy's asking like future cash flows because it's over 4 years.
Exactly.
They're not going to fall by it today.
Oh, bummer. There's a really cool.
Don't forget to tag PayPal in the post. Jesus Christ, man! Just going for the jugular.
Oh, man. Yeah. So cash and cash equivalents are about $7 billion for Adobe, and then, well, here I can throw this up. Fiscal AI, a sponsor for me. But no, regardless, over the last 12 months, you can see, well, this is where they currently sit, about $7 billion in terms of total cash and cash equivalents. And then liabilities, short-term debt, not too bad. Is there any long-term debt? Yeah, there is. Don't know what all the liabilities are, but a lot of those are not really debt in the same way. So yeah, they're basically, they have a little bit of cash, but not much. And then let's look at cash flow specifically. Can look, free cash flow right there. Yeah, they make 10 billion, and that's accelerating. So they may level off at some point, but how many years was this $50 billion buyback for?
25 billion over 4 years.
For 4 years, they could do it. Yeah. Them taking on debt to do that wouldn't be shocking. Like if they see an opportunity, a lot of companies do that, and oftentimes is a mistake, even though it can seem bullish. I think Wix is maybe an exception there, but yeah.
All right, let's move on. Roy, what was in the Robinhood box behind you?
Yeah, that was from the San Francisco event that was in the San Francisco Mint, and they gave to everybody that was there these. Not shot glasses, but like they were very nice glassware that were kind of orangish gold after the gold theme. They're not actual gold, of course. So yeah, they're nice glasses with a lot of foam padding around it. So
that's cool.
Yeah. If you ever get invited to one of those, you go. Unlike this guy who didn't want to be a +1.
Yeah, I'll keep holding my breath over here. Sammy asks, are you guys eyeing up the space or AI IPOs this year? Anthropic only.
Yep.
Can cash secured puts turns into share, or is the point is you just make a premium as long as so cash secured puts is like the opposite. So cash secured puts, you're putting up cash as collateral to make a commitment to buy shares at a certain price. Versus a covered call is like you're putting up shares as collateral to make a commitment to sell your shares at a certain price. So with cash secured puts, yes, it can turn into shares if it is below or below.
Yeah, below the strike.
Okay.
So if you
Below
sold
the-
$25 cash secret puts, and the price
Sorry.
falls, well, it's the other way. You're right, above.
Yeah,
And the
that's-
price falls to 20, then you are obligated to buy at 25, and it's just you have more expensive shares. So that's the risk. I personally find I love the tool as a way. Like I don't always wait for cash secured puts. I think it can be a mistake to do that because then the stock price can run on you. But sometimes when I'm just DCAing, I'll do that, and I'll either be making some nice premiums at strikes that I like. Maybe it falls below, but I'm like, hey, I would have bought it anyway there. Or I own the shares of a company that I already wanted to own. I don't sell them or write them on stocks that I don't want to own. That was a microvision issue that I had, chasing premium.
Yeah. Do you guys see SoFi at $40 this year? Yes, I do see it at $40 this year. Any take on VIAV? Don't know what that is. Would you say that's similar to AIR in that both companies are in the testing layers of photonics? Roy, all you.
Yeah, there's a lot of niche in the automated testing equipment market that are like that. I looked at them, but it wasn't a long look. It was like 10-minute maybe exploration. They're not doing the wafer level burn-in test. Are these guys the guys that are using lasers? Whatever they're doing, it's a little bit different than anybody else. I didn't fully understand it, but I'm like, hey, I like the wafer level approach that these guys are doing. Obviously, a lot of other companies do as well. I think that's the direction they're moving. So, but in the automated testing equipment lineup, it's usually not just one provider, even if it's Advantest or Teradyne. And it's not certainly just one unit. You're doing multiple tests. So you might do, touchdown for the burn-in for all the way upstream with wafer level, and you still have maybe package level burn-in. You have several systems level tests as well. So there's a room for a lot of niche players. I don't really know enough about these guys. But yeah, it's a hot space. A lot of speculation right there. So
sure is. All right, let's see. Would you do out of the money selling puts on SoFi now, Tevis? Out of the money is like below? No, that's what's out of the money for puts? Yeah, it's okay, got it. Similarly to what you did on Nebius.
yeah, so you're writing cash secret puts above the share price. So you're obligating yourself, like writing $200 cash secret puts. You're obligating yourself to buy at $200, whatever the price is.
I would just, so here's the thing with cash secured puts, like how I see it. The higher the share price, like let's say SOFI's at $20, okay? If I want to be safe, I'll write it at like 16 for a month or 17 for a month. And I think now is a good time because you have earnings as well. But if I want to play, like realistically, what I would do for SoFi is I would probably, let's say SOFI's at $20. Realistically, I'd write like $22 puts for June or for, I don't know if there is July, but like July. So it's like a couple of months out so that you give it time to breathe, because as the market sentiment improves, the idea is that SoFi can go to $21 and you can still get out of those with 50% profit or something to that effect. It doesn't need to go to that $22 and above for you to be like completely scot-free. But the idea is that like you give yourself enough time. If SoFi goes down to 19 or 18 or 17, you're still fine. You're like underwater, but you're still fine because you have so much time left on that put. Now, the fear is that you're going to get early assigned, which I have been early assigned, like even up to a month early, which kind of sucks. But the idea is that the higher that I would go in strike price, i.e. the more risky, the higher the delta, the more I would go out in time. And that just gives me optionality.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a real problem. So you got to have that money sort of handy because you will get assigned randomly. But you can do the same equation of like that people are doing for you. It's like the time value of money. Is it worth it to get assigned or is it not? And like at some points, the extrinsic value will be like pennies, and the intrinsic value, because it's gone against you, is going to be so high that the counterparty is just going to assign you because you're deeper in the money, and it's just the time value of money doesn't make sense for it anymore. And so you got to be careful for that. In those times, I would probably just to be safe, roll out like 6 months out so that you can make up for it with the extrinsic value again, just to ensure you don't get early assigned. Stuck in air.
Same idea. Yeah, same idea as what you were saying. Time value of money. If it's worth it to you, then do it, and if not, don't.
Yeah, lots of options questions. I'm like, we keep getting asked to do like options streams. I feel like a lot of people are interested in this stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. Just joined. Have you guys announced you're getting back to HIMS? Neither of us are getting back into HIMS. Yeah. Do we like Grab? I don't know. I've never read up on Grab. Right?
No, I've never been bullish on Grab. I hope shareholders are right. Love for Amit to get another one, and he will. You know, I don't think Grab is it. I think it's a good opportunity, not a great one. So I don't care about the price.
Yeah. Serve. I've seen a bunch of stuff on Twitter about Serve. I haven't really looked into them.
I don't know it.
Yeah. Thoughts on FCC approval for ASTS? How huge is this news? I don't follow ASTS. We just talked about them because of the drop, but.
Give me a minute and a half. I will be right back. I apologize.
Okay. Let's see. Perfect. Would you be buying Nebius at today's prices or waiting for a pullback? So this really, Matthew, depends on your own goals and what you want to achieve and how long you plan on holding and how bullish you are. So I'm not making a decision for you. None of this is financial advice. Here's what I would do for me. If I didn't already own a position in Nebius, with the current level of bullishness that I am on Nebius, and it's a lot, like Nebius is my number one position, right? So keep that in mind. Probably what I would do is I would probably buy a small portion to hold for the long term. So let's say, I don't know, let's say I want to buy 1,000 shares. Okay. I would probably buy 1/4 today. So 250 shares today. And then what I would do is I would write cash secured puts in different tranches for different times for those levels. So for example, if it's at 155, I would write 140s 2 weeks out. And then I would write, 135s a month out, 125s 2 months out, whatever. And you get paid quite a hefty amount of money from premiums. But you also don't get that FOMO because you already own a position in Nebius. You're just not fully built out yet from your position. And so if it goes up, you still profit. If it goes down, you're lowering your cost basis and it's closer to the, pullback that you're waiting for. So that's sort of how I would personally hedge it. Again, all depends on your own, portfolio. Thoughts on ARM, Roy?
I mean, they're a great company, and they've done very well, actually, even better than I expected since the IPO. I have not kept up with them, so I couldn't tell you. I could tell you, looking back on the IPO, like that's a buy, obviously.
Yeah. Is margin buffer 45% safe? Yes. Margin buffer of 45%. Is this like to not get
I don't use margin enough to be confident in an answer there. So yeah, it's again outside of using it for air for a very short term very short term basis with money that I knew was coming in, or using it to get out of a covered call that rolled away that I wanted to exit. I've never used it.
Yeah. It sounds safe to me, but I'm not fully sure what you're asking. You work full time? Yes. How much higher can air go?
Answered, yeah. There's more upside over the long term. Could be in the short term, but that's a lot. That's speculative.
Yeah, watch Roy's videos. He has actual price targets. Do you guys mess around with that wheeling strategy? Yes, it is a very good strategy. I do it, and I'm probably not as consistent. I would probably be much wealthier if I was, but I like the wheeling strategy. Recent bank earnings, I haven't been keeping up, quite frankly. Have you?
Actually, no, I need to. So, really good question, but no.
What's a good delta for covered calls or cash secured puts? I think like if you want to maximize premium, I don't know, man. Like cash secured puts, I write delta at like 0.6, 0.7, but that's insane. Don't do that because I want to own the shares. That's why I write it so high. But like realistically speaking, I think 0.25 is good. If you don't want to give up the shares or end up buying the stock, then probably like 0.15 to 0.1. Price target figure? Good question.
So yeah, there's upside for sure. I think we might have already seen the high this year in January. The hard thing is they're not affected much by crypto at all, but they're caught up in that basket narrative. And I think crypto winter might not really abate until the last quarter of the year. I think that'll be a great quarter for Figure. We'll probably see a price of like $50 or $55 a share. It does have extremely high beta, so we could see a lot more than that. We could see a lot further downside too, although I sniped some at 27. I feel pretty good about that. So yeah, I continue to add. But long term, what I need to do more work on that, to be honest. But you can look at businesses that they replicate, see the TAM, think how much that they can reach at that, and see the market cap of these other guys. They have a tiny market cap, tiny. So there is a lot of long-term upside. I just think.
What's their market
Figure?
cap? Yeah.
Let's see. They've moved around a little bit since the
8 billion, 7.5 billion,
Yeah.
dude. That's not tiny.
Yeah. Well, it's small relative to a lot of the financial services that they're competing with. So I think that they're tiny in terms of where they're going, very clearly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Can you please tell us the story of how you were early assigned? What happened there? What was I early assigned on? Oh yeah, I remember what I was early assigned on. I got early assigned on BM&R because I had like $40 cash secured puts and BM&R was like at $20. But I could like I was wanting to roll those out, but I couldn't roll them out, and I got early assigned on them. I collected like $18 in premium, so it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. So like my break, I was like $3 or $3.50 off my break even, something like that. But the idea was like I thought BM&R would start rallying much sooner, and so what ended up happening is like I just had a higher cost. Actually, I don't even think I had a higher cost basis because in that account I had like a $43 or $44 cost basis, and I wrote $40 cash secured puts, collected $18, got assigned at like 20. But the problem is I got assigned like 1 month earlier or like 5 weeks earlier, something ridiculous, and that initially put me a little bit into margin because I was just like, oh man, I didn't expect to get assigned with so much time left on the clock, because BM&R is generally liquid. So you got to be careful for that. But I have gotten early assigned like a 1 week before expiry, 2 weeks before expiry. This was just the one example where it was like a big portion, and it was like 5 weeks before expiry, which kind of sucked. But again, I was like $20 in the money, so like it's totally fair to get early assigned on that. Did you even get a hat after getting early assigned? No, I just got more pain. Yeah, everybody got assigned in BM&R. All right, hold on. Let me bookmark 13 questions to go. Thoughts on in the money calls, buying or selling? You got to specify here.
I'm pretty sure he's saying buying.
Bullish.
Yeah, well, there's two scenarios where you would be interested in doing that. It's not right for every portfolio. There is more risk, obviously, for that than shares. But usually you're looking at something like a 95 delta. So it approximates 95% of 100 shares, and you usually get it at like maybe 65 cents to the dollar. So it is a form of leverage in that way, because you could take the same amount of money that would buy this many shares and actually have a lot more proxy shares through that. You could just be happy with that, long-term leaps, and make some money in that way. Or you can write poor man's covered calls against that for even further upside at strikes, of course, that you're comfortable with ultimately selling. So there's that if you're comfortable with that, and be sure to look at the risk, because again, people might have done that in some of these SaaS stocks that just collapsed. You would lose everything then. So, but if you're comfortable with that, like, it's I think one of the safer forms, if you're using it this way, of margin in the market.
Yeah. And my policy generally is like, if I'm buying calls, I'll go out in time. And if I'm selling them, I'll go, not that out in time. So like 2 weeks to 2 months when I'm selling, and like 2 years when I'm buying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to make sure that data is on the side of the long call. And I meant leverage. One of the safer forms of leverage, not margin.
This tab is so much about options. I mean, I don't know. You be the judge of that, based on how I'm answering these. How about Palantir or Nebius that don't justify their valuation? Excuse me, sir? Nebius doesn't justify valuation? Get the hell out of this stream. All right? SpaceX is not the only one who has a crazy evaluation. First of all, I feel like I'm going to get triggered. What the? Roy, holding back, Roy. I don't know, man. Nebius is overvalued. It's $40 billion with like, I don't even know how to like put Nebius and SpaceX in the same box of overvalued. Dude, one is $2 trillion. And I'm like,
it's funny. Nebius is, I don't think, overvalued. If you're looking at PE, of course, they're not profitable, or PS even, but then look at the revenue growth. Look at the TAM. Look at their partnerships. I don't know. It's meaningful. Also, how they're raising. Palantir doesn't belong in the conversation of SpaceX. Like, people think Palantir is expensive. It is. Not by as much as people think, but SpaceX is in a league of its own if they get this price, which I guess it did, 1.75 billion.
Yeah. Ruby says, this is my favorite show because it's aftermarket, no stress. There's no new information or data. Two handsome bros wearing calming colors as t-shirts. Never mind, Travis is crashing out right now. Yeah, I did get rage bait on that one. Holy man, I'm still like, my blood's still boiling at that one. Anyways, do you guys look for profit taking, or do you hope to get assigned? I guess it depends on stock. It does depend on the stock.
On puts, usually to get it signed, and on calls, usually just to take a little bit of extra profit.
So one change that I've made, and I made this change with the market falling towards the end of last year, like December or beginning of this year, January, I really narrowed my range of stocks that I am writing on, but I became much more aggressive in the like delta that I'm writing on them. So for example, before I would be writing on, I don't know, Amazon, Tesla, VG, Air Test Systems, and now it's just like I only write on like two names, SoFi Nebius, maybe the odd BMNR, maybe. But as a result, I'm super aggressive on maximizing premium for those, because I know I'm in those in the long term and I'm bullish on those, and you won't shake my conviction on those. And so as a result of that, it makes me sleep so easy at night, even if I'm $30 in the money, because I'm like, look, at some point in time, I will get that money back because this thing will appreciate over time. So it's like, thank you for the free premium, even if I do get assigned.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an early flight tomorrow, so I'm not going to bookmark any other questions. Hive, I have not looked into them yet, but maybe I will. You guys forget that we both work full-time jobs. Are we at war or not? What's the latest on this? Go to the beginning of this video. The first thing we talk about is macro at about 6 minutes into the video, and you will get your answer. Thoughts on Broadcom? Bullish on Broadcom. I like it.
Yeah.
Do you like Fastly? Nah. I haven't looked at them since 2021.
Yeah, I know very little about them. Sorry.
What would you do with $110 covered calls expiring May 1st on Nebius? Cry is what I would probably do on that. Now, you can just roll them out, man. The time value on Nebius is really rich. So you could probably just roll them to 115 for June and probably still get paid money. So just look at the strike prices that you can roll them out to if you want to hold them. But so that's number one. And then I would probably let's say I roll it out to 115 by June. I would also write cash secured puts at 115 by June and collect a little bit of premium because only one of them can get hit at any given time. That's just me though, not financial advice. Please don't sue me. April 29th, will you be taking the day off just to watch the stock market? No, it's actually going to be a very busy work day. So we'll see. How old are you guys when you hit your first million in the market? I don't think either of us want to answer that.
Yeah.
Do you run cash secured puts or covered calls on every position you have? How do you keep track? I have a spreadsheet where I keep track, and I don't run them on all of my positions. No.
Yeah, likewise. I have certain positions that I will pretty much sell them against every week, but outside of that, it just depends on where the stock is.
Why would I roll them to 115? It's already at 160 because you don't want to pay a huge debit. You don't want to pay to roll them. You want to get paid to roll them. And so $5 of intrinsic value that you have in the bag, you're basically replacing for extrinsic value, which expires over time. So you're slowly going to roll it to 115 and then a month later to 120 and then a month later to 130. And eventually you're going to have, you're going to get paid every single time you roll them. If you roll them to 160 right now, you're going to end up paying the difference. And that's going to be a very painful thing for you to do.
Yeah. Time value of money.
Yeah. All right. Why sell cash secured puts so much out of the money if are bullish, if you're bullish instead of just buying call options? Because call options, the premium, the time decay works against me, if that makes sense. Whereas selling cash secured puts, it works in my favor. Does that make sense, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thoughts on Dell? No thoughts.
It depends what the announcement is. I also really like them, by the way. The Dells, they're ridiculously wealthy, but they donated a large amount of money to the Invest America accounts. Which is just it's awesome. And I like the computers too. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at a deeper level. They're positioned well, obviously. That's why the market's giving them premium. But I'm interested to see what that announcement is.
Holy, I didn't know Tesla earnings was tomorrow.
Wait a minute. I thought it was next week. Was it not next Wednesday?
It might be tomorrow.
I thought it was next Wednesday. It's tomorrow. Whoa. Oh, man.
Yeah, we're off our game, bro.
If only somebody had an earnings calendar that we could look at. But so my position is so small for Tesla. I barely keep track. I'll look and see what Elon says. Even if I wasn't a shareholder, I still would do that because he's fascinating. They're still there, and this will be the case really until Q4, trading against a pretty significant headwind because they don't have the EV tax credit. There was more demand, and we saw some of that translate into monthly sales as far as acceleration. But I don't know. It's where it's currently trading, as far as the stock price. I keep hoping and thinking it would go down further. I'd love to own a lot more, but I wouldn't expect anything.
I'll never have 100 sleep score. We're almost done, Jesse. We're trying to wrap this up. But this is like, we have to answer all your questions. Will I see you next Friday? Okay, so this Friday, Roy, sorry to break it to you live. We probably won't be able to do Fiesta Friday because I'll still be in New York. I can do it on Saturday, though. Please don't cry. I can do it on Saturday if we want to do Fiesta Sabado. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll take a look.
Okay.
It depends on the news too. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff, but if it's like, it's kind of a slow week, maybe not.
Like everyone, I'm not bookmarking anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah, please take
All
10
right.
seconds to like the video. We've been live for 2.5 hours, and we're gonna get paid like $13 on this video. So
That's how we get the big bucks.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I know there's people that do very well on this platform, but like,
Bro,
I think it's just easier to put money in the market.
Siesta Saturday.
Ooh, well,
That's
that sounds
it.
kind of like a
That's me.
snoozer, but no, I love it. Yeah,
That's me.
that is awesome.
All right. Price target for BM&R. I think it can hit, $45-$50 this year for sure. I think it can do it.
Yeah, I think it's likely.
Can you write covered calls against your options? I didn't know that.
Poor man covered calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a little bit, two things. Investopedia is a great resource on the web, not a sponsor or anything. They're great. Go there, learn about things that you don't really fully understand, then take one step further and study, somebody that's adept in the field. Lots of good YouTube videos on poor man's covered calls. Second, I forgot what I was going to say, so never mind.
You were going to say TJ the Wheel Deal talks about this, and go follow it.
Yeah. Good resource.
I feel like Bootleg should be on Friday and the Tuesday show should be Taco Tuesday. It's a thought, sir. Thank you for...
Yeah. I did remember the other thing with the covered call. So every single platform, for whatever reason, has different rules for how they close those out. If you do let them expire and they're in the money. So make sure you research that too for your platform.
Yes. Do you ever do naked covered calls like TJ? I've never done naked covered calls. I have a friend that does them, and they're always like scary to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd have to use margin,
but they wouldn't be. They wouldn't be covered then. That's like
you're effectively using margin and for yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, they would just be like, you're selling naked calls. You're not selling naked covered calls. It's oxymoronic. Yeah. Yep. Can you show one example of how you purchased 100 shares and sold covered calls and what your strike price was? What?
I think you just kind of wanted to see how options work, but yeah, this is not the video.
I mean, we can just do it real quick, no?
If you want to.
Like, okay. So SOFI. I mean, sure. I don't know if I'll actually. Maybe SOFI is a bad thing to pick because you'll see my call options. So let's say I buy 100 shares of SOFI at $20. That's $2,000, right? Yeah. And then I want to go out and I want to agree. I don't think I have anything May 29th. I want to agree to sell those shares of SOFI at $21, right? So 5% or $22, let's say, and I make 5% on my shares. So I buy them at 20 for $2,000, and I sell them at 2,200, and I make, what is that? 10%. So I make $200, right? By selling a covered call, I'm getting paid $65 for those 100 shares. So if it goes, for 38 days out, right? So what is that? 5 weeks out. I buy it. I spend $2,000 to buy it. I agree to sell it at $22. So I'll make $200 if I sell it. And then I also collect $65 for writing that option. Now, SOFI has earnings. So if SOFI goes to $30, that's 50%. That's like an extra $1,000 that I'm leaving on the table for getting paid $65. That's the risk. But if SOFI is at $21, let's say, and it doesn't reach that strike price, then I'm keeping that $65 and nothing happens.
And,
That's
and you
exactly
keep
right.
the premiums either way too. So like if you are
Yeah.
some of the tickers we mentioned have really rich options chains, and as
Yes.
a result, like if you're forced to sell it like $95, but you have like $15 worth of premium on the shares that you sold, it's like selling it at 110.
Yeah. So let's say you're selling one covered call. Your break even price is 22.65 because you collected 65 here, 65 cents. And so realistically, you're going to keep the 65 cents either way, but you'll get sold at 22. So your break even is 22.65. Hope that helps. Yeah. Is the Clarity Act bullish for Figure? If so, how come?
Very different company, but sister company with SoFi. Bullish for both for two reasons. One is if the yield loophole that currently exists with the Genius Act is closed, this differentiates the stablecoin substantially because neither are backed by the 3-month Treasury. SoFi is a national charter bank. Yields is actually registered with the SEC. They would be able to have yield. Huge benefits for them, especially because they have business-to-business applications. So beyond that, let's say, and I hope that doesn't happen, but let's say it definitely could, but let's say it doesn't. The other factor is there's a lot of companies that, again, so Figure is a platform. It's a lot of things, but it's a platform where businesses can use kind of as a way to actually make their securitization and loans and HELOCs and also other loans actually function. There's more to it than that. There's a retail side as well, actually multiple too. But when you are dealing with crypto, if you're a business, you're making business decisions, and there's this bill that's currently there that keeps changing every single moment. Most businesses will want to wait and delay because right now what they're working with is good enough on making a decision on the crypto stuff until after clarity is passed. So once they do, I think for both SoFi and also Figure, no matter what happens with that yield loophole, they're going to benefit quite a bit just because they have these really interesting products out there for businesses, very differentiated from each other, by the way, but they benefit equally.
Yeah. The reason why things are up overnight is because Trump extended the ceasefire indefinitely, which is bullish for markets because it's a step closer towards peace, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to answer more questions. It's already 2.5 hours on the stream. Sorry. Maybe I'll just do that last question since I already brought it up. I feel bad. When and if air price goes down, is it a good idea to roll covered calls to the lower strike price? So out and down when the stock is down.
I mean, you can, but I don't do that. Especially in a high beta stock, unless you're really happy with, or if your strategy is just about selling options, okay, yeah, maybe. But I don't see any other reason why you'd actually want to do that.
I just horizontally roll them. I wouldn't lower the strike price. I would just roll them out in time. Yeah. But I would do it when the stock is up.
If we can do one more as well.
Sure.
The Hestayeti, 829. Hestayeti.
How do you decide when to sell a put with the intention of getting assigned and buy the shares outright? Good question.
Yeah. For me, it's usually if I want to make this a decent sized position that it's not in my swing. Well, so okay, two things. I have a swing portfolio. It's not most of my portfolio. It's actually a small amount. If it's in my swing portfolio and that's all it is for sure, I will just write the puts because I'm just about making money in that platform, not holding things long term, all in a tax advantage account. If it's not in my swing portfolio, I'll still sometimes write them more from the premium than the shares, but that's usually when it's a position that I'm DCAing into. I already own a chunk because I don't want to make the mistake of not buying any. Now, let's say I get halfway to my allocation. At that point, I might begin writing cash secured puts, usually.
Yeah. All right. Good luck to those who are in Tesla tomorrow. And apologies for the show not coming back on Friday. We might be back on Saturday. We'll let you know, hopefully. And yeah, I love when Travis crashes out. I'm glad that you love it. That makes one of us. Thank you all so much for watching the Bootleg Weekly podcast. Yet another Taco Tuesday for you. And we will see you very soon. Thank you very much. I'll see my New York friends this week, and I'll send you a selfie of the Italian place that Steve undoubtedly takes me to. All right. Good night, everybody. See ya.